The pirate journey of Arceus. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 201. The Chieftain of Dahua begins. For Zeraora, only Arceus, who created him, could bear the title of God. Ganfal was just a stronger ordinary person in his perception. So in Zeraora's view, Ganfal was not worthy of the word God. Don't be impatient, Zeraora. We are not the protagonists in this battle. He looked at the chieftain on the side. They were nominally helping the Shandians to regain their homes, but they were not the ones who declared war. At this time, Ganfal just drove the Pegasus under his crotch to come over. Although it is a horse, it is actually just in the shape of a horse. There is no creature like Pegasus on Sky Island. This is actually a sky-spotted bird that ate the horse fruit. The dense black circular spots on the pink skin are proof of its race. The black spots are all over the body, even the back of the wings. These black spots alone can cause some people to feel uncomfortable at the psychological level. I'm the god here, Ganful. Shandians and King Hey people, why are you here? Ganful. Stop talking nonsense. We are here to take back our homeland and return our yard. Kodda, I told you that we can sit down and talk about many things. There is no need to start a war. Okay, you Sky Island people leave there and return our yard to us. The rest can be discussed. As he spoke, he had already carried the DIY rocket launcher on his shoulder, pointing the muzzle in the direction of Ganful. This is impossible. Our yard has become an inseparable part of Sky Island for hundreds of years. Then there is nothing to talk about. Looking at the situation of the Shandians, Ganful was also ready for battle. Although he did not like fighting, the manager of an island had to face the enemy. In the White Sea, mud is a precious thing. It has no fixed value, but it has incomparable significance. After Shandora was washed up on Sky Island, that island became the God Island of Sky Island, Arpeado, where the administrators of Sky Island lived, and ordinary Sky Island residents were not allowed to enter at will. Therefore, the conflict between the Shandians is not a conflict with the entire Sky Island people, but a conflict with the ruling class of Sky Island. Ganfal tried to negotiate with the Shandians, but the fundamental contradiction between the two sides could not be reconciled. The Shandians wanted these invaders to leave their homes, and the Sky Islanders were unwilling to give up so much land. To break this contradiction, unless the more powerful enemy appears and regards both the Shandians and the Sky Islanders as enemies at the same time, their contradictions can only be reconciled under the oppression of external forces. For example, Enelu, the force of the beasts, can also do this, but because of historical factors, the beasts chose the side of the Shandians. As usual, the negotiations broke down, and Ganfal thought that what happened next would be no different from the past. The two sides fought a big battle, each suffered some casualties, and left in dismay. But the result today is different. Those foreign King Hey people ended the battle in a crushing manner. Not to mention the Sky Islanders. Even the Shandia people didn't react. Before they had time to make contact with the enemy, the battle was ended by Zeraora. Zeraora, who turned into lightning, walked through the Sky Islanders. Every time his figure flashed across an area, a group of people fell to the ground one after another under the attack of lightning. Even the strongest among them, Ganfal, was not much different. If you have to say, ordinary people were directly numbed by Zeraora's discharge, and Ganfal made him kick an extra leg. Too weak. How can you call yourself gods, and how can you call yourself the guards of God? Zeraora didn't want to take action. Manfesh was enough to solve this situation, but the administrator of Sky Island called him God, which was a taboo for Zeraora. It would be fine if he was stronger. After all, gods also have strong and weak, but this level is completely unworthy of being compared with Arceus, who is the only true god in his heart. Boring. Bro, Zeraora just started to fight. That's right, the people in paradise are still too weak. Although Sky Island is somewhat different from the Grand Line, it is still here, so there is nothing wrong with that. From the moment Zeraora got off the ship, these pirates had already put away their weapons, because they already knew the outcome. This is the result of being crushed at the Kaido level. If there is no strong individual force, to deal with the opponent's strong, then the number of people is meaningless. Compared with the usual behavior of these pirates, Setsuna's state became very strange. Sister Setsuna, what's wrong with you? Nothing, I'm just wondering what the point of me coming out is. Previously in Magic Valley Town, she had just solved an opponent, and the rest were all dealt with by Manderfish and his men. Now on Sky Island, Zorora's actions are faster. In less than a minute, the enemy has been wiped out. She remembered that someone told her to practice before she came out, but now it seems that she practiced in vain. The Shandians looked even more awed. Yesterday, Manfish defeated all the warriors with his bare hands. This was shocking enough for the chieftain. Now, the enemy that had troubled Shandia for hundreds of years was completely defeated in just a few minutes, and did not even have the qualifications to fight back. This was beyond their understanding. So you are the ancient god, right? According to the ancestral teachings and legends, the Lunarians had said something similar when they entrusted them to keep things. He had also heard what Zorora had said just now. Now, in his understanding, Arceus was the god of another race, and he had revived. Do you really only need those inconspicuous shells? Although they were defeated in the battle with the Sky Islanders, they also had the ability to resist, so the war lasted for hundreds of years. However, in the face of absolute crushing power, they developed a sense of awe. Just like the giant snake was believed to be a god in the past, the Shandians would worship extremely powerful creatures, not to mention that this was helping them. His hometown was back in his hands, and none of his people were even injured. This was too different from the battle he imagined. This is the reward for your hundreds of years of keeping your promise. Our conditions will not change. The enemy has been defeated. Now Shandora is yours. People will make things more reasonable through their own imagination. After the chief identified the identity of Arceus, this behavior became reasonable again. The gift given by the gods as well as a rare treasure for mortals. It is difficult for them to take back Shandora, but it is a piece of cake for the other party. Now even his expression when looking at Zorora has changed. This orc's posture is probably the real messenger of God. However, the matter is not over yet. The people led by Ganfodder were all defeated by Zorora, but there are probably no more people left in Apeadone. However, there are still a large number of Sky Islanders living on the nearby Angel Island. That is where ordinary residents live, and a large number of shellfish are produced. Arceus does not like massacres. He can't kill all those people. At this time, Ganfodder's role is reflected. As the manager of Sky Island, his surrender can better represent an attitude. Chapter 202, Sky Island changes owner and the Lord of Sky. Arpeado will be returned to the Shandians. Angel Island will still be governed by you, but you are not allowed to set up armed forces. You need to collect and cultivate a certain amount of Sky Island shells every year. And the most important thing is that you are not allowed to call yourself a god. Any other questions? After a while, Ganfale, who woke up, was given an ultimatum by Manderfish before he had time to treat his injuries. King, hey people, why do you want to interfere in the disputes of Sky Island? Ganfale did not answer Manderfish's words, but questioned him, but the consequence of doing so was that he was kicked in the chest by Manderfish. You are the losers. I'm notifying you, not waiting for you to ask questions. You only need to answer my words, whether you understand or not, or you can try our other methods. Arceus took Yamato and others into Arpeado, intending to see what Shandora looked like, and ordinary members such as Manderfish were left here. They received orders to take over the rule of Sky Island before Arceus returned. Apart from anything else, Ganfale now has a lot of say in Angel Island. His surrender can represent an attitude and save the beast's pirates a lot of trouble. Because they want to build Wano country into their base camp, the beasts will frequently interfere in the management of Wano country. But this is Sky Island thousands of miles away. Although they intend to treat this place as one of their own territories, they will not interfere with the autonomy of the locals. For the people of Sky Island, except that their god island Arpead was taken away by the Shandians, nothing else will change. Lord God. Looking at what happened to Ganfale, some members of his guard shouted this familiar name, and then a gun barrel was pointed at their heads. Is my words not clear? You are absolutely not allowed to use the title of God. Don't you understand? Kill them and let them know the consequences. Looking at the people of Sky Island who still insisted on using this title, Mandafesh made a very direct decision. He wanted to get everything done before Arceus and the others came back, and the means would naturally not be like those in Wano country. Wait, stop. I'll do as you say. Let McKinley go. From now on, there will be no so-called gods on Sky Island. Zerora crushed them easily. All of them were beaten by the other person without any ability to fight back, not to mention that there were so many people. There were no casualties so far. Although the damage caused by the electric current was not light, they were all alive and had no power to resist. He didn't want to add casualties for nothing. It would have been better if you agreed earlier. Let him go, Mr. Ganfol. Now, please go and announce the result to the people of Angel Island. Okay, but if you don't let us set up armed forces, what about the safety of Sky Island? What if the Shandians retaliate against us? Don't worry about that. The Shandians will not attack you. This is our agreement. As for your safety, of course, we are responsible. As he said this, Mandafesh took out the flag that he had prepared long ago and followed Ganfol and others to the direction of Angel Island. Arpeado, the Shandians who set foot on the land of their hometown again were quite excited, but hundreds of years had passed, and this place was no longer the way it was circulated in the tribe. Although the Sky Islanders occupied this place, they only planned it as the Island of Gods, and did not move in large numbers. The freely growing plants had already changed the appearance of this place. After traveling through the jungle for a long time, they finally found the legendary Golden Town. There is really gold everywhere here. A pirate pulled away the vines. Although the wall below was dim, he was still sure that this large piece was gold after hitting it a few times. If you want, you can take the gold here at will. However, no pirate took action. Compared with these external things, their own strength is more important. They will not act at all without Arceus's order. The gold here is actually a bit useless for the current beast's pirates. John's treasure and the huge trade brought by the beast's fruit have made their funds very sufficient. So Arceus only asked them to collect some of the destroyed gold fragments and did not touch the complete buildings. Godfather, where is the golden bell? Yamato asked her own question. She has not seen the legendary golden bell until now. At the same time, the Shandians are also searching for the location of the golden bell. Reigniting the lights of Shandora was the goal they had been waiting for nearly 400 years. The moment it was found, the Shandians present cheered. The mighty bell rang through the sky, but amid the cheers, there was a friction sound. A giant python of an exaggerated size appeared here, with its huge snake pupils staring at the direction of the golden bell above, as if missing something. With a length of more than 200 meters, it is the undisputed overlord here. The people below are like ants to it. It is a giant python known as the Lord of the Sky, and even Ganful can't do anything to it. The sound of the golden bell is its favorite sound, but it has not been heard for a long time. The appearance of this giant python also helped Arceus solve a problem. Someone must be left to ensure safety on Sky Island, but the beast's pirates do not have any suitable personnel stationed here for the time being. Now with this giant python, it is different, and this giant python has some origins with these Shandians. It was originally listening to the bell, but suddenly something bound its body. Before it could react, more vines directly wrapped around its head, pressing its huge body onto the island cloud. It didn't take much time to tame it, but it shocked the chief of Shandir again. He had heard of this giant python. Its grandfather was the snake god worshipped by the Shandians hundreds of years ago. Although he was killed in the end, the Shandians also worshipped this giant python for a long time. Its huge size and long lifespan made people worship it as a god, but it was like a puppy in front of Arceus, and was tamed almost at the first sight. From today on, you are responsible for protecting the safety of the Shandians, and obeying their orders. Do you understand? Yes, I understand, but you are too weak now. Although it is a little big, it should be about the same. He has not yet transformed the mountain god boar of Wano country. The giant python in front of him is the first giant creature he has transformed. This size is even larger than the super ancient Pokemon. With it guarding here, Paradise basically doesn't have to worry about anything with its strength. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. we cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 203, Monarch Snake in the Return. Before Narlan could react to what happened, a surge of energy poured into its body, and then its body changed dramatically. The original pattern began to fade, the abdomen turned light green, and the green on the back was darker. 3 dark green leaves grew near the end of the tail. Several yellow lines appeared on the body, elegant and noble, like the symbol of royal nobility. Part of the body made of vines extended from both sides of the neck, just like the collar and cuffs of a suit. The pupil color of both eyes turned red, giving people a sense of dominance. Grass attribute, the 3 major families of Unova, the royal Pokemon, Monarch. Originally, as the Lord of the Sky, it had no opponents in the Sky Island, and had developed a kind of hegemonic aura. With the blessing of the monarch's own racial characteristics, its size had a strong deterrent power. However, when looking at Arceus, the arrogant eyes were only submissive. Just now, Arceus simply subdued it through coercion, but now it was truly convinced. It's now Monarch Snake, named Narlan. It will protect the safety of you Shandians in the future. If you encounter an opponent that it can't defeat, then use it. Then Zerora took out a Dendenmushi and gave it to the chief and taught him how to use and maintain it. Dendenmushi need to be fed and bathed. If it is left alone for a long time, it is likely to die suddenly. If the Dendenmushi is abused, it may choose to defect. The Ammonite on Onigashima is a living example. Garo. After the transformation, the animals will be affected by the personalities of some Pokemon. Narlan has become a little arrogant now. Hearing Arceus ask it to obey the orders of those ants, it is a little unhappy. Okay, not to obey their orders, but to obey my orders to protect them. Garo. This time Narlan did not raise any objections, but agreed confidently. Then Narlan's huge body climbed up along a huge vine. With the Monarch Snake's own camouflage, if you don't look closely, you can't see that there is such a big snake wrapped around the vine. Lord God, does your messenger need us to do anything? After this series of operations, Chief Shandia has already recognized Arceus' identity as the sleeping old god, and the Monarch Snake he transformed naturally became his messenger. Tribal civilization is sometimes very ignorant, and Rolando has also brought many changes to the Shandia people, such as changing their behavior of offering living sacrifices to wild animals. It is not surprising that they do similar things to the real messenger of God in front of them. But Arceus is not here to reverse history. No, it will find food by itself. The skyfish and the sea clouds is enough for it, and there is also the Sunday. The special thing about grass type Pokemon is that in addition to regular food to replenish physical strength, photosynthesis is also an important part of their lives. Through photosynthesis, they can replenish a large amount of physical needs, thereby reducing the demand for food. Don't be too stressed. This is what you deserve. You can just collect and cultivate shellfish as usual. As for Sky Island, I have no intention of continuing the battle. The lights of Shandora have been rekindled. This is enough. As long as they don't continue to covet the land of Arpeado, then other things don't matter. They won't. The law enforcement power here is handed over to you. Someone will tell you about the relevant system later. You just need to go outside regularly. Understood, Lord God. After ringing the golden bell, the Shandian people left here again. They were going back to the tribe to pick up the others. On Angel Island, the residents of Angel Island also understood the current facts under Ganfor's words. Arpeado was returned to the Shandian people. Ganfor was no longer a god, and he was now the owner of Angel Island and still managed Angel Island. Although the so-called priests were abolished, they still formed a security force under Ganfor's leadership to maintain order on the island and protect the safety of residents. Apart from the ownership of Arpeado and the flags that have been hung on Angel Island and Arpeado, nothing seems to have changed here. In the days to come, they will understand how much trouble that flag can help them solve. At first, some people did not accept it, but after the tamed Narlan took the Shandians out for a walk, that voice completely disappeared. Less than a day later, the 2 long-cherished wishes of the Shandians were fulfilled. The Shandians held a grand banquet here, which should be called a carnival. The next morning, the beast's pirates, whose goal had been achieved, had to leave. With some shellfish and gold collected, the Origin began to sail towards the edge of the White Sea. However, when leaving, they left a request to the Shandians, asking them to send people to Bika to find a strange looking fruit. If they can find it, keep it, otherwise forget it. According to Gan Fowler, Bika is very remote, and is also in the countryside on Sky Island. It takes a lot of time to get there. He had no obsession with the thunder fruit, and the thunder fruit was not a necessity for the beast's pirates, so he didn't want to waste too much time here. But just as they were leaving, they saw something special. Some Shandians had worked all night to build 3 new totem poles. The giant snake, the thundercat, and the ancient god, alpaca, became the new totems of Shandia, and they regarded Arceus as the new faith of the tribe. The Origin did not choose the normal way of descent, but just like when it came up, it directly blasted a hole in the White Sea below, and then drove straight down. At this time, Yamato was wearing a feather woven hat on her head. It was something made by the Shandians, and it was the highest respect for friends. And she was fiddling with a photo shell in her hand. For Sky Island, this shell was a combination of a camera and a video recorder. Inside were some of her records of Sky Island. Although her photography skills were very poor, they were all taken by herself. She still remembered her words, and wanted to show the tavern owner what Sky Island really looked like. Whether it was verbal belief or real belief, he was the only person in the tavern who believed in the existence of Sky Island. In Magic Valley Town, the work efficiency here is very fast. In the few days when the beast's pirates left, Dot's tavern had been repaired. Harold's head was soaked in beeswax, and waited for a merchant ship to come to exchange it for money. When he was thinking about what to do with the remaining money, a group of familiar figures walked into the door of the tavern. Does anyone have a complete list of onomatopoeia? The kind of onomatopoeia for Pokemon calls? Chapter 204 Yamato's Destiny Buff Fairy Slate and Little Fairy Milk. Uncle Boss, we are back from Sky Island. Looking at Yamato who ran in, Dot was confused. At first, he was just coaxing the child, because the other party was very generous. For the people of Mogu Town, Sky Island is an unrealistic fairy tale. Even at the end, he still doubted the matter of Sky Island, but 2 or 3 days later, the other party came back again, and swore that he had been to Sky Island. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to him whether Sky Island exists or not. Whether it really exists, or it's just an adult coaxing a child, as long as she says it exists, then this Sky Island exists. He can't afford to offend those people on the other side. Even if they look friendly, the essence of the 100 Beasts is still a pirate group. They didn't show any mercy when they dealt with Harold before. Now whatever the other party says is right. Let alone there is a Sky Island in the sky, he would believe them, even if they said there is an island under the sea. Putting on a smile, he continued to speak through Yamato's words. Are you back? What does Sky Island look like? It's an island made of clouds, and there are big snakes. The education work at the beginning played a role. She didn't mention the Golden Country, but it actually saved these people. If someone really went to Sky Island because of greed, and really got there, then only destruction would be waiting for them. There are not many people in paradise who can match the giant monarch snake. In the end, Dot got a photo shell with some photos with poor photography skills. Then the beast's pirates left the Magic Valley town and prepared to return to the new world. On the Origin, in Setsuna's room, it was time to record her logbook again. The desk lamp on the desk emitted a slightly dim light, which was just the right brightness for her. Because of the voyage, there were not many things on the desk. The turbulence caused by the waves made it difficult to put things on the table. If it was not fixed, a big wave would hit it, and those things might roll to somewhere. So the fragments were placed in the drawer. After popping out her claws, Setsuna took out her diary from the drawer. The reason for the claws was to open the lock. There was a small lock on her drawer, but this lock had a greater symbolic meaning. After all, everyone on the ship had the ability to open this lock. She herself was too lazy to use the key, and she just used her claws to open the lock every time she used it. Turning the diary to a new page, a beautiful handwriting appeared on it. December 30th, 1496. The voyage time was faster than expected. At this time, we have left the Sky Island. It turns out that in addition to the back of Zal, there is also such a strange island in the sky. Lord Arceus found what he wanted. Zerora seemed very happy about this, but Setsuna felt a little strange. He clearly said that I should experience more, but nothing happened. Zerora has grown a little taller, but only a little bit. I will definitely be taller than him in a while. Today we are going back to Wano country. The world outside is indeed much more interesting than Zal, and there are many more bad guys. She seemed to want to write something, but she didn't write it down. After closing the diary, she locked it back. The next day, time had come to the last day of 1496. The itinerary of the origin remained unchanged. There were no islands nearby that could be docked within half a month, but the sense of ceremony was still there. This task was basically handed over to the chefs and musicians on the ship. This was one of the few things that could be done during the voyage. Although musicians were not standard, they had always been an indispensable role in many pirate ships as a rare form of entertainment. The children on the ship also received their New Year's gifts, a white creature floating in the air. It was very small, milky white, and had no fixed shape. It was a special creature composed of liquid, fresh cream Pokemon, little fresh milk, attribute, fairy. Perhaps because of Yamato's own magical buff, the attribute of this slate was fairy, and Arceus had another piece of treasure against Kaido. Little fairy milk was the new life created by the fairy slate. Godfather, what is this? It looks so cute. Looking at the little fairy milk jumping up and down in their hands, several children showed a very interested look, and Setsuna was no exception, although she had some opinions about being treated as a child. Your New Year's gifts, you have to treat them as partners, and they will give back to you. As he was talking, the little fresh milk in Yamato's hand threw something into her mouth. So sweet, it's cream. Yes, it's cream. They will share the cream with their friends. Remember to get along well with them. They will become different after they evolve. There is a reason why the little fairy milk was chosen instead of their evolved form, the cream milk fairy, because the taste of the cream milk fairy's cream has a lot to do with their little fairy milk period. If the cells that make cream in the body of the little fairy milk are affected by an unstable state during evolution, it will become a variety of flavors. The way for the little fairy milk to evolve is to hold different candies and rotate them. Depending on the direction and time of rotation, the type of candy, the mood of the little fairy milk, the intimacy, etc., the taste of the evolved cream milk fairy will be different. And they will decorate themselves with tree fruits, which generates more flavors. He alone knows as many as 63 kinds. The local specialty fruits will only allow the cream milk fairies to have more combinations. This is the reason why the little fairy milk was handed over to them this time. In a sense, they are also the first batch of trainers. Having a little squirrel or an evolved frost milk is like having an endless cream making machine. This Pokemon is an extremely wonderful partner for Charlotte Linlin, but Arceus does not intend to send them to Cake Island. Their bodies are made of cream, and Big Mom, who is overeating, is more terrifying than a drunk Kaido. He does not want frost milk to be eaten whole. As a special individual with only females, they will not breed the second generation as freely as Magikarp does, so Big Mom can only get the cream produced at most. The four of them played with a little squirrel each, but there were more than these four little squirrels. There were also several little squirrels providing cream around the pastry chef on the ship. Because there were 3 children on the ship, he was brought up specially. He was a pastry chef sent by the Beast's pirates who had studied in Wano country. If the pastry chefs in the Pokemon world knew that he had so many fairy milks around him, they would probably be so jealous that they would cry. The pastry shops visited by fairy milks would surely be very popular, and Frost Milk Fairy would be the most desired partner of all pastry chefs. However, at this time, the fisherman by the boat caught a strange fish. Chapter 205, The Glory of Magikarp and Mandafesh's Ambition. Fishing is always an important activity on pirate ships. It is common to have fishing rods on ships going out to sea. It can be used as a pastime to replenish food, and if you are lucky, it can also improve the food. So when Arceus distributed New Year's gifts to Yamato and the others, there were also several pirates fishing, and they were also betting on who could catch the bigger fish. However, at this time, Mandafesh was lost in thought when he looked at the fish he caught. Not only him, but also the surrounding pirates were stunned. "Mandafesh, you caught yourself?" As the people around him said this, someone finally couldn't hold it anymore. A laugh spread across the deck and attracted the attention of other fishermen. "Isn't this kind of fish released by the holy beast to the sea area of Wano country? How come there are even here? It's different. How big are the fish on the waterfall in Wano country? Look at these ones, they are just the size of ordinary carp." Yes, what this person caught was a Magikarp. The red scales and golden crown have already explained its identity. What should we do? Let it go. What else can we do? Lord Arceus values the creatures he created. But what about those Wajihu? Aren't they all second generation breeders? Who dares to have bad intentions towards Kintaro? But this one is exactly the same, but it's so small. Mandafesh, why don't you ask it? Looking at the Magikarp in the bucket, several people finally turned their attention to Mandafesh. The abilities of Pokemon users are given to them through the way of conferring. In essence, they are still human beings, unlike Zorora who can communicate with Pokemon skillfully. However, users of the same ability can better understand each other's meaning when facing the same Pokemon, so Mandafesh was brought to the bucket. Looking at the Magikarp that kept flapping up and down, he didn't know what to say. But the laughter here has attracted Arceus' attention. "Lord Arceus, look, we just caught a strange fish." Looking at the Magikarp in the bucket, this was not the first generation he created. He understood that his original purpose had been achieved. When he first entered Wano country, he transformed those Magikarp, and their offspring were also moving to other seas. Now it has been a long time. Now Magikarp have appeared in the first half of the Grand Line, which means that the distribution range of Magikarp is getting wider and wider. Put it back, Magikarp can't be eaten. Magikarp's body structure has no edible part. In the Pokemon world, even people who are starving to death will not think of eating Magikarp. If the chef here can have a way to cook these Magikarp, he can only say admiration. Before putting this Magikarp back into the water, there was a cry of surprise from the stern. Yamato and Jack were almost dragged into the water while holding a fishing rod. Fortunately, the pirates next to them reacted quickly and grabbed them, but they still didn't put down the fishing rods in their hands. "Miss Yamato is amazing, you caught a big fish." The pirate who took the fishing rod felt a huge force coming from the fishing rod in his hand. This was a fishing rod made of rope cloud, iron cloud and cloud shell given to them by the Shandians. Its toughness and load-bearing capacity far exceeded that of ordinary fishing rods. At this time, the fishing rod had been bent into the shape of a clip, but it still did not break. "Don't just watch the fun, you guys come and help, this is a big guy." He now understood why Yamato and the others were almost pulled down. Even an adult might not be able to withstand this force. With the combined efforts of several adult pirates, a blue creature was caught out of the sea. Roar. The blue creature perched on the deck roared, with a body structure like several fins on its back. It opened its big mouth and roared angrily, and at the same time, it swung its tail to sweep away a pirate next to it. Seeking? No, it's too small. Is it a sea beast? Who knows? There are all kinds of strange creatures in the sea, but this guy's really strong, and I don't know what's going on. I'm a little scared when I see it. When Arceus returned to the stern again, he saw the roaring monster, which was also a species he was very familiar with, Gyarados. One of the weakest Pokemon, the evolved form of Magikarp is a very powerful Gyarados, commonly known as the Great Cruel. Compared with the weak Magikarp, Gyarados has a very fierce personality. It has teeth that are hard enough to bite stones and scales as hard as steel. However, because the brain changed during evolution, it became very fierce. But if it can be recognized by it, you can also see its friendly side. The Magikarp in the waters near Wano country did not evolve, probably because there were no natural enemies nearby, and the Magikarp that left the waters of Wano country had to face various dangerous situations in the sea. There are also various monsters in the vast ocean, and under this pressure, some powerful individuals have evolved. Seeing that it was about to spit fire, Arceus still tied its mouth with wicker. Spitting fire on the boat was not a good habit. Although it was able to evolve into a Gyarados, it was the best among these Magikarp, but the gap was still too obvious compared to Arceus. "Yamato, didn't you ask me what evolution was before?" "This is evolution." He brought the Magikarp that had not been released yet. This is their original appearance, but as long as the opportunity comes, they will evolve and gain their own new appearance. They are Gyarados, and they can have their own place even in the sea. That was the question Yamato had when he just got the little fairy milk, and it happened to be a good explanation with the appearance of this Gyarados. Will the little fairy milk become so scary? No, each Pokémon has its own evolutionary form, and the little fairy milk is also very cute after evolution. Then Arceus put them all back into the sea. Yamato and the others also understood how great evolution was, but someone was much more excited than them. That was Mandafesh. Lord Arceus, can Magikarp become like this? This may not matter to others, but for him, it is a qualitative change. Apart from anything else, he has just seen the flames appearing in Gyarados' mouth. If he can also have this ability, then his life plan can be changed. Instead of retiring, he should apply for retirement after climbing to a higher position, and the benefits should be much better. He can breathe fire and swim. If his ability can evolve to that level, he, Mandafesh, can brag about himself a lot more in the future. Chapter 206 Assassination and ID Card. The name has dragon in it, the color is blue, and it can breathe fire and swim. If you round it off, you can brag about yourself. Sure, work hard. It's not impossible to let Mandafesh's Magikarp evolve. He can give Mandafesh the light of evolution. Whether he can evolve at that time depends on how much he trains. He casually drew a pie for Mandafesh. As long as he works hard enough, it's not impossible to become Mega Gyarados. As for what Mega Gyarados is, he gave Mandafesh a simple and easy to understand understanding, the awakening of the fruit. This pie is real, and whether he can eat it depends on his own efforts. But for Mandafesh, he has already imagined his bright future, and he has started his life as the king of the beasts pirates with his own strength. Do you think brother Mandafesh is crazy? Several pirates stood on the deck and looked at Mandafesh. At this time, he was wiping the deck with 4 mops. This was originally their job, but after that day, Mandafesh began to compete for all the work on the ship. He did what he could do, and he tried to do what he couldn't do, looking like he was going to roll others to death. I don't know, it was like this. After he talked to the holy beasts that day, do you think there might be some reward that we don't know about? As soon as these words came out, the expressions of several people changed. The competition within the beasts pirates has always been fierce, and it is not uncommon for subordinates to challenge cadres. As a small leader, Mandafesh suddenly acted so abnormally, which seemed very wrong to them. In the end, the news spread more and more outrageous, and the entire origin was rolled up. In February 1497, the origin returned to Wano country. When the origin was hoisted up from the submerged harbor, a group of people walked onto the origin with cleaning tools. According to common sense, when the ship is close to Wano country, the people on the ship will take a break and put down the work in their hands. The people in the submerged harbor will pull the ship back to the dock for maintenance after cleaning it, but today they fell as soon as they came up. Are you guys crazy? Why do you want to make a deck so smooth? Looking at the deck that was bright enough to shine, the people who stayed in Wano country couldn't understand what happened to these guys during their trip. Sir, welcome back. Did you have a smooth trip? Very smooth. Remember, we have a new piece of land in paradise. It is located on the Sky Island above Gaia Island. You can ask Mandafesh or Aurora for details later. Is there anything going on recently? Arceus asked Shaina about the recent situation. He had been away from Onigashima for nearly 4 months, and he had to know what happened in Wano country. In terms of development, the factories, ranches, and farms are all operating well. The cotton fields in the Heim region are also growing vigorously. Sir, I suggest that Wano country should not grow ordinary food. Our overseas territories are enough to meet the needs of Wano country, and this will also allow us to control the food supply of Wano country. The cotton, as a cash crop, will bring higher returns. It depends on the situation. What else? This suggestion is not bad. Given the national conditions of Wano country, if the country switches to planting cash crops on a large scale, then food will have to rely on foreign imports. However, Wano country itself is closed to the outside world, which is equivalent to being grasped by the throat of the beasts. As long as the restrictions are tightened a little, it will cause public resentment. Wano country only has so much land, but the beasts have more than just this one territory. Other islands can still be used as their own food production areas. However, this requires a degree and needs to be experimented slowly. Kajiro's Chamber of Commerce has also begun to expand to foreign countries. With the wild boar you tamed, the people of Wano country are more accepting. He also exchanged out a second prize for his prize redeeming bottle cap. Everything has been good recently, and there have been no problems with the beast's fruit. What about the bad news? For so many years, Shaina's habit is to talk about good things first and troubles at the end. He is used to it. As for no troubles, that is impossible. Shaina herself did not notice it. She would scratch her head unconsciously at such times. Whenever she scratched her head and reported the news, it meant that something bad had happened. There was an assassination during the New Year's festival before. The person assassinated was Kazuki Momonosuke, the grandson of the former General Kazuki Sukiyaki. Although the assassination failed in the end, the Lady Toki was also shot in the leg. Who did it? It has not been investigated clearly. There are eyewitness reports that it was done by our people, but after investigation, the person has sufficient alibi, and it should be related to Kurozumi Orochi. He really keeps making small moves. We also released the news that it was done by Kurozumi Orochi, and many people are willing to believe us. At least now the name of the beasts is much better than that of Kurozumi Orochi. However, the public reaction after the assassination was still very large. The name of the Kazuki family has a profound influence on the country of Wano. Kurozumi Orochi is a piece of cake. The beast's pirates kept him around just to let him fight the Kazuki family head on. Just like Shaina said later, the Kazuki family has too much influence on Wano country, and this time is the most troublesome thing. But it is not difficult to deal with it. The bald eagle next door has already set an example, or they themselves have also set an example. By then, there may be an extra shogun's personal assistant position in Wano country. But Lord Seijiro, this incident also led to some good things. After the assassination at the festival, Hyogoro and Hananomichizuru realized how much harm the current situation in Wano country would cause. So Kajiro reached a consensus with him, and those gangsters became much more honest. The killer hid in the crowd of hooligans and took action. This made Bingalang understand that, if the problem of the hooligans in Wano country could not be dealt with properly, similar things might happen again. If these were handled properly, those people would have much less chance of assassination, even if they still wanted to. According to the rotation method, after Arceus came back, Kaido, who had been idle for nearly 4 months, could not bear to leave Wano country. The reason for leaving was to collect the whereabouts of the stone tablet. As for what he was going to do, no one knew. Wano country has entered a development stage again. During this period, Arceus popularized something to the members of the Beast's Pirates in Wano country, the identity card. This thing is not difficult to make. Whether it is an inspection device or a built-in chip, Quinn and Athi have methods to make it. This is mainly to prevent some strange people from getting in. For example, during the Battle of Onigashima, in addition to the original 30,000 people, there were 5,000 enemies, and on average 1 in every 7 people was an undercover. The most important thing is that they just changed their clothes and got in. That's why we equip all the beasts with identity cards. Even if there are still enemies sneaking in, it's impossible for so many to sneak in. The General's private cheat. If you are interested, you can search Emperor's private cheating on Baidu. I won't explain it for now. Chapter 207. The Birth of One Piece and the Dark Side of the Lottery. A few months later, Kaido personally brought a newspaper back to Wano country. A big event happened. Roger finally completed his unprecedented voyage. Pirate King. Gold Roger. A few big words occupied an entire page of the newspaper. Led by Morgan's World Economic News Agency, the media around the world were reporting this matter frantically. The Pirate King was born. Cowards, they are really a group of cowards. They dare not even announce Roger's name. Gold, they are really afraid of the so-called will of D. Roger became the Pirate King. This is something that cannot be concealed. There are too many people who know about Roger's crew members who watched them set off. In this case, the world government chose to spread the matter through its own channels first, and the purpose was to cover up Roger's real name. However, this can only deceive most of the ignorant people. There is no pirate in the new world who does not know Roger's real name. Now Gold D. Roger is drinking with Whitebird on an island. Looking at the photo in the newspaper, Arceus suspected that the reporter who took the photo rowed a small boat and followed Roger all the way to Raftel. Otherwise, it would not be possible to take a photo from this angle. The journalists are indeed full of hidden talents. Pirate King Gold Roger, bounty of 5.5648 billion baileys. This is the biggest news today. Although Gold Roger's name has spread all over the world as the Pirate King, almost everyone knows that one person has unprecedentedly conquered the Grand Line and reached the final island of Raftel. However, Wano country is an exception. The closed Wano country has no newspapers at all, and only the people of the Beast Pirates know what happened. As for the locals, even if they are told that they are the Pirate King, they will not understand the word. In the past, no one would be convinced by such a title, and countless challenges would come immediately, but this time, no one would accept it. Whether it is an enemy or a friend, Roger's behavior has been recognized by the pirates. There are still people who want to kill Roger, but they also recognize the title of the king. On an unknown island, Gold D. Roger looked drunk, and in front of him was Edward Newgate, the white-bearded pirate known as the strongest man in the world. D. My name is D. But Newgate, don't you really want to know how to get there? I can tell you the route. Gilila, no interest, I've already got what I wanted. Roger, what are your plans next? Roger's pirate group has been disbanded, and I should go home. After all, I don't have much time left. Goodbye Newgate, if there is still a chance. Totland Sea, Cake Island. Well, Pirate King, you are so brave. The things stolen from me really helped him a lot. As he said that, he crushed the plate in his hand, and a lot of powder fell to the ground, scaring the people around him to tremble. Only the long bread came over with a cart. Lingling, this is the new cream made by the beasts. Come and try the newly made banana cake. Sweet food made Charlotte Lingling look happy and temporarily forgot the anger. A certain Sky Island, the base camp of the Golden Lion. Admiral, big news. Goldie Roger has really reached that place, and now people call him the Pirate King. The Golden Lion who took the newspaper did not speak, but just smoked his cigar one after another. As expected of you, Roger, the man who defeated me is really amazing. On an unknown island in the new world, Barrett threw the enemy in his hand aside with a complicated expression. He wanted to challenge Roger again, but he also knew what Roger's physical condition was like. At the same time, the Golden Jackson was also sailing on the sea. The Roger Pirates had been disbanded. When all the crew members went home, its mission was considered completed. On the Ghost Island, Kaido was drinking in big gulps. No one knew what he was thinking about this man who defeated his former captain Rox and now conquered the Grand Line. The Carters also had their own ideas, but the ordinary members didn't think so much, and continued to do the same things as usual. And Kajiro's Chamber of Commerce has also expanded a lot of business during this period. Master Kajiro, our juice has been selling like hotcakes recently, and has become the best-selling drink in Wano. A man who looked to be in his 60s was kneeling beside him. He was an old servant in Kajiro's family. He almost raised Kajiro, and he had never left when the family fell into decline. Now that Kajiro has achieved a higher status, he has naturally been reused. Kajiro listened to the old man's report while stroking the dog. After Zyoka was reborn, his vitality almost doubled. Walking the dog every day was a physical job for him. If he hadn't been dragged by Jin to practice kendo during this period, he might not even be able to walk the dog. According to your meaning, we have already sent out the grand prize bottle cap, but do we really have to do this? I think it's enough, even if we don't send it out. Uncle, reputation is the most important thing. It's just 100 gold, and it will take some time to be found after it is released. As soon as Kajiro finished speaking, an employee of the Chamber of Commerce ran in. Master Kajiro, the flying arrows in Linghao area have collected all the grand prizes. Woof. He plucked a few hairs off Zyoka's dog without noticing. According to his estimate, it would take at least half a month to sell the grand prize bottle cap. Adding the other bottle caps, it would not be easy to collect them all. After all, he had collected a large number of rare bottle caps from the second prizes. There are not many rare bottle caps left. How could it be so coincidental that one person just bought them? How is it possible? Did you sell them to the wrong person? The owner of that store said that he was busy with other things at the time, so he asked the customer to get them from the warehouse and then bring the person here. Since it has been done, it must be exchanged, but it must be operated well. The prize redemption procedures are still different. The owner can redeem another bottle directly, but the grand prize must be redeemed in person. When he saw the person who came to redeem the prize, his facial expression twitched slightly. "Ms. Yamato, why are you here? Is it okay to redeem the prize?" "Of course, no problem. I'll redeem the prize for you right away." He originally wanted to run an operation event, but now he sees that there is no operation at all. The winner of the first prize is the only daughter of the investor. If this operation is to be run, people will call it a shady deal every day. When he learned about Yamato's method of collecting bottle caps, his emotions became more complicated. She invited everyone in the group to drink juice for 3 days, and nearly 1,000 people opened the bottle caps for 3 days and directly collected all the bottle caps except the first prize. In the end, he decided on a goal to get 10,000 small goals first before considering retirement. Chapter 208, Rotom integrating into life. The process of redeeming the prize went smoothly, but in Kojiro's opinion, the other party's behavior was unnecessary. Not to mention the prize redemption, he would not refuse, even if she came to his door to ask for money. Although Kojiro's Chamber of Commerce has been developing rapidly in Wano country during this period, he knows very well that this Chamber of Commerce is just a leaf attached to the beast pirates. If there is any crooked intention, the beasts can replace it at any time. The rise of the Chamber of Commerce is a huge shock to the local merchants in Wano country. After seeing the huge profits brought by the beasts, xenophobia has long been thrown behind their minds. However, they missed the opportunity to join the beast pirates. Kojiro does not want to be replaced by others, so he has been seizing various opportunities. He can't refuse Yamato's request, but he will write a report and send it in afterwards. It's better for him not to interfere in other people's family affairs. Then he checked the recent sales records again and roughly guessed what was going on. After all, a large number of goods were sent directly from the production plant in Linghao to Onigashima recently. This expenditure is already more than the grand prize. Master Kojiro, what should we do next? Reissue a few more, and be careful this time. It's best to let an ordinary person who collects bottle caps win the grand prize bottle cap. Understood. I'll do it right away. As for Yamato, she didn't have a clear understanding of this number. She first got the grand prize bottle cap by coincidence, and then used her New Year's money to buy a large number of bottle caps and send them to the beast pirates in order to redeem the prize. If you calculate carefully, her small treasury is actually shrunk, but it doesn't matter to her because she has already gained the joy of the lottery. With her little fairy milk on her head, Yamato jumped back to Onigashima, but she was stopped by a strange creature just after arriving at the gate of Onigashima. "Lotto, please show your ID card, Lotto." A red unknown cube was blocking her in front of her and kept shouting to show her ID card. Its main body is a punch card machine made by Quinn. It is not difficult to make something similar to an ID card with the technology here. After the request was made, Quinn and Arcee finalized the design plan in half a day. Arcee has also made some special substances during his research in recent years. His original intention was to use other substances as a substitute for pure gold, but he accidentally made a substance with functions similar to magnetic cards. Combined with the production method of the New World Life card, an identity card with personal information entered appeared inside the beast pirates, and it was distributed to everyone. Then Quinn made several more punch cards. When entering Onigashima, you can just swipe your identity card. However, during this period, Arceus transformed those punch cards, or more accurately, gave them souls, making them new carriers of Rotom. Although Rotom now looks like a punch card, it is not its main body. The punch card is just the host it lives in, and its main body is inside. Rotom's body is made of plasma. Its orange body is its core, and it is surrounded by blue translucent plasma outside, which can be materialized as Rotom's hands. Arceus created a large number of Rotoms through the Thunderbolt slate. Now there is not only such a time clock inside Onigashima, Relying on the special nature of Rotom, Onigashima has directly entered the intelligent era. Because Rotom's body is like electricity, it can enter the inside of certain machines. Any machine that operates through electricity may become its new body. The attributes of the body are electricity and ghost, but in fact electricity is its most important attribute. Its attributes will be different depending on the machine it enters. However, Rotom has a requirement for the kinetic energy of the machine, which is a special motor that is suitable for Rotom. Quinn has made such a motor in the past few months, and used the motor to transform some machines. Now he in Arceus' laboratory, Onigashima's kitchen, and the time clock outside. Rotom's figure is almost everywhere. Sorry, Miss Yamato, this guy's new here, and it still has some programs that haven't been entered. At this time, another punch card Rotom flew over and directly pulled away the previous Rotom. Identity verification is for ordinary members, but it is different for carders. The punch card Rotom stores the life cards of members above carders. After comparing the recorded image data, it can directly determine whether the other party is a carder. Yamato and other children also have this preferential treatment. They can enter directly by face scanning without identity cards. The reason why not all use this method is mainly because of the number of people. The life cards of all people are too many, and if it is just to record the appearance characteristics, it will not work without proof such as magnetic cards. There are too many ways to change appearance in this world. Now even the gate of Onigashima has been replaced with an electronic door, which can prevent some people from entering places they should not go, such as preventing Yamato from mistakenly entering the office. If someone with the wrong identity wants to break in by force, they will release electric current to attack and sound the alarm of the entire Onigashima. Time soon came to mid-October. Yamato's third birthday was coming, and this was one of the few good days left for her. Kaido had prepared a dense training plan and planned to start after her third birthday. After that, her life would not be as easy as it is now, so Arceus planned to prepare a birthday party for her. For this reason, he sent a few people to borrow a few chefs from Cake Island. The chefs of Onigashima were very different from those of Cake Island in this regard. After all, those people could be said to be Big Mom's dedicated dessert chefs, and if they didn't make it delicious, it would cost lives. The Den Mushi that the Beast's pirates used to contact other pirate groups were all on Quinn, and this task was also given to Quinn. After finishing a day's work, Quinn was about to contact Big Mom's people, but before he could make a call, the Den Mushi rang instead. Moshi Moshi, this is the Beast's pirates. I know this is the Beast's pirates. Quinn, you still have those bananas in stock, right? Transfer a batch to us first, quickly. Perospero? Do you think I'm your subordinate? Who gives you the courage to give me orders? You and me. That's not what I meant. Anyway, we need a batch of goods, quickly. Looking at Perospero who didn't refute on the phone, Quinn noticed something wrong. Chapter 209 Call me handsome, and I will agree. Since establishing a relationship with the underground world through Charlotte Lin's line, although the Beast's pirates are still using Charlotte Lin's network, the two sides are only ordinary trade relations. Even if some islands suitable for planting are handed over to the Beast's pirates by the Big Mom pirates, there is no exception. There is no conflict between the two sides for the time being, but that is only because there is no conflict of interest for the time being. Once a fundamental conflict of interest occurs, Kaido and Charlotte Lin will not mind falling out, and a battle between the two pirate groups is also very likely. Therefore, the communication between the subordinates is sometimes not so kind, and it is common to spray each other on the phone. Moreover, Perospero is more resistant to the Big Mom pirates and the Beast's pirates being too close, so he usually talks nonsense with Quinn on the phone. He didn't say anything back today, which is not right at all. Quinn can still hear some explosions from the Den Mushi, and with Perospero being so scared, he also has his own guesses. Mahaha, Perospero, Big Mom's bulimia has occurred, right? Apart from this reason, he couldn't think of any other reason that would make Perospero so impatient. Don't worry about it. Where are your fruit stocks nearby? Just call me the handsome and dashing Quinn, and I will answer your questions. Quinn's mouth corners unconsciously rose. In the past, he often couldn't win an argument with Perospero, and Perospero's answer just now made him confirm his guess. The people of the Big Mob Pirates must be the most uncomfortable when Charlotte Linlin's bulimia occurs. After all, once Charlotte Linlin goes crazy, she will attack indiscriminately. The distance between Wano Country and Cake Island is quite far, and Charlotte Linlin can't fly over for a while, so Quinn is not in a hurry at all. Quinn, you fat guy, have some shame. Huh? What did you say? The signal is not very good. Why don't you hang up first? I'll give you a chance to reorganize your words. Perospero wanted to smash the phone directly, but looking at the crazy Charlotte Linlin not far away, and the eyes of his brothers and sisters, he still held back. Handsome and elegant Quinn, which island nearby still has stock? No, the goods for this period of time have been sent out long ago. Quinn, don't be too damned. If it doesn't work, you can go and rob Umit yourself. Anyway, the goods have been sent out, but where are your goods? We don't lack your things. Although the climate of the Grand Line can find suitable production areas all year round, the growth of fruits always requires a cycle. The Big Mob Pirates have priority, and the batch given to them has been sent out long ago, and the rest have also arrived in various places on merchant ships. If I can find the route to Umit, why would I need to look for you? In fact, he really thought so. As long as Charlotte Linlin's food addiction can be solved, other things are just minor problems. As for the goods originally sent to the Big Mob Pirates, they were robbed by someone. Because Roger's name as the Pirate King spread all over the sea, even if he has not surrendered yet, there are still many people who choose to go to sea under his influence. And those pirates who have already gone to sea have also developed mysterious self-confidence and want to challenge other overlords. The transport ship of the Big Mob Pirates encountered the rookies who had just arrived in the New World. They were not afraid of the Big Mob flag, but robbed the ship. And those people were not very knowledgeable. After seeing that there were fruits on the ship, they sank the ship directly. This caused Charlotte Linlin, who was waiting for the fruitcake, not to see the food she wanted, and her food addiction broke out uncontrollably. For a while, except for looking for the original supplier, the Beast Pirates, they really had no other way. Once Charlotte Linlin's bulimia attacks, it is difficult to stop. Either she gets the food she wants, or she runs out of energy and passes out. But when she was a child, she destroyed the entire giant village because of her bulimia. Now her energy may destroy the entire 1GUO. Banana ice cream cake. Charlotte Linlin grabbed the tower on the Cake Island and took a bite. When she found that something was wrong, she angrily lifted the entire tower and threw it at the refugees in the distance. Katakuri's body turned into rice cakes, and it took a lot of effort to stop what Charlotte Linlin threw. Perospero, find a way quickly. Mom's bulimia is getting worse. The three Katakuri brothers tried their best to reduce the damage caused by Big Mom, but this was only a temporary solution. If the problem is not solved from the root, it will never end. Quinn, I don't have time to joke with you. Do you have it or not? There is still a little bit in stock, but it will take about 10 days to ship it from here. Don't you have a faster way? 10 days? If he really waits for 10 days, he might lose his Cake Island. This is why he opposes establishing too many connections with the Beast's pirates. The overly delicious fruit is loved by Charlotte Linlin, but this kind of fruit is still monopolized by someone. Once the stock is insufficient and Big Mom's food cravings occur, this is the most direct impact. 10 days is already an expedited schedule, but it's not impossible to go faster. We can use air transport. If we go full speed, it will probably arrive in 1 day, but, I see, handsome and elegant Quinn, can you please ship it quickly? Huh, you finally admit this, but what I want to say is that air transport will cost extra. After all, you have received the previous goods, and it has nothing to do with us. If they are left in your hands, you name the price. I want to see bananas by this time tomorrow. Perospero hung up the phone directly, and he felt his blood pressure was a little high. Quinn, you wait for me. Don't let me get the chance, or you will suffer. This time he had to admit his defeat. As for regretting it after the people arrived, that kind of thing is impossible. It's not that he is trustworthy, but if that happens, the Beast's pirates will be cut off from the supply of goods, and they will be in big trouble. But this also reminded them that they have to find a way to prevent this situation from happening. It seems that they have to store more canned fruits, preferably those with a shelf life of 50 years. Quinn also found Zerora. He definitely couldn't get there in one day. Shaina or Jin could probably fly at full speed, but Jin was out for something. If he went to Shaina for something like that, he would probably get beaten up. So Zerora became the most suitable person. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 210. Quinn saw a familiar look. Zerora, how about helping to deliver something? And you can also bring back the chef that Lord Arceus asked you to find. You can just pick any chef on Cake Island when the time comes. As he said that, Quinn told Zerora what happened before and handed him the prepared box. He did not refuse to deliver the goods for Quinn, mainly to complete Arceus's order to find a chef. According to Quinn, the big mob pirates would not refuse any chef they wanted when the time came. I'll leave it to you. When the time comes, you can rip them off. Don't be soft-hearted. I'm not good at bargaining. You should do it when the time comes. Zerora was not good at this kind of blackmailing, so this important task still fell on Quinn. Then I'll do it. Remember to describe the expression of the long-tongued monster to me. It's very interesting to think about it. By the way, remember to deliver it within one day. Let's go as soon as possible. I know. Tell Setsuna for me. I'll be back in a few days. He said and took off and left here directly. If he didn't take a boat, he naturally didn't need to go through the harbor. It would be enough to fly directly from here. He could fly back by himself, but it would be different with a chef. It would take a few days. And less than a few minutes after Zerora left, Setsuna appeared here in a new set of clothes. Zera. Where's Zerora? He went to Onguo to deliver something for me. He will be back in about 10 days. But after he answered, he felt something wrong. Setsuna didn't say a word, just stared at him, and her eyes became a little strange. That look seemed familiar, exactly the same as the look Shaina had given him a few years ago. She left in a flash, but it seemed that the place she went to was Shaina's residence, which gave Quinn a bad feeling. His intuition told him that danger was slowly approaching. In the Totland Sea, Cake Island, Charlotte Lingling's destruction continued. Brother Paris, what's going on? The people from the beasts said that the things would be delivered within a day, and it's only been half a day. Just hold on a little longer. During this period of time, the chefs of Cake Island have tried countless ways to make banana ice cream cakes, but none of them can satisfy Charlotte Lingling. Without the bananas, cultivated by tropical dragons, no recipe can perfectly blend the fruity flavors. The head chef, Longbread, was too anxious to experiment with the recipe and has now fainted. Without Longbread, the kitchen of Cake Island is now in complete chaos. Although the big mob pirates had a large number of people, they were useless in the face of the mad Charlotte Linling, especially the homies. They could not help Charlotte Linling at all when she was angry. To be precise, they were lucky not to make trouble. Zeus, Prometheus, and Napoleon were all trying to persuade Charlotte Linling. If they joined in the destruction, it would be completely troublesome. But even if it was just one Charlotte Linling, it would be a nightmare for her children. If they were afraid, they might be killed by her. Therefore, only Katakuri and a few others could barely delay Charlotte Linling's destruction and reduce the casualties. A day had passed since Perispero hung up the phone, and many areas of Cake Island had also suffered a devastating blow. Brother Katakuri, something is coming from the sky. The people around saw a yellow flash in the sky on the side, with the sound of thunder and lightning, and the direction of the light was pointing directly at Cake Island. At this time, is it from the beast's pirates? Katakuri's observation haki has not yet been cultivated to the point where he can predict the future, and he doesn't know what will happen in a while. He said he was going to stop Charlotte Linlin, but the crazy Charlotte Linlin was no match for them at all, and they could only interfere remotely at most. If Charlotte Linlin's anger was really transferred to them, none of them could bear it, so Katakuri could still look in other directions. As the lightning fell to the ground, Zerora also showed his original posture. That guy, Lightning Zerora, is from the Beast's pirates. Great. They are finally here. Where are the things? Did you bring them? Several people in chef uniforms quickly surrounded him. After seeing the bananas Aurora brought, they picked up the bananas and ran to the kitchen. The raw materials there were almost ready, except for this last banana. Zerora looked at the destroyed country around him. It was completely different from when he attended the tea party, and he couldn't even see a shadow. You are finally here. They didn't know where Zerora came from. The fact that the headquarters of the Beast's pirates had become Wano country was essentially a secret, and only some people in the world government knew about it. Although it was fast to get here in one day, it was a torture for the people of the Big Mom pirates. Only by facing a monster of Big Mom's level could they experience what kind of horror it was. Even if her main target was not them, this matter kept their nerves tense. Now that the life-saving bananas had come, they could finally relax. After working overtime, the special banana ice cream cake was finally made. Mom, the cake is here. Katakuri shouted beside the cake cart, and then hurriedly retreated to the side, leaving only the cake in Charlotte Linlin's sight. Cake. Give me the banana ice cream cake. Charlotte Linlin's figure had not yet begun to change, but she sat on the ground without caring about her image, and ate the cake without caring about her image. Her children all showed a relieved expression when they saw this, and the crisis was finally resolved. But this is for others. For Perospero, his troubles are not over yet, because Zerora handed him a den mushi. This is, lend me a few pastry chefs. We have a birthday party to be held there. This den mushi is from Quinn. He wants to discuss other conditions with you. In order to prevent Perospero from taking advantage of him in terms of borrowing chefs, he specifically told Zerora that he would ask for it directly in person, and Quinn would be responsible for discussing other conditions. Zerora didn't know what they talked about, but judging from Perospero's expression, it should be something very excessive. Katakuri directly decided to lend the chefs to Zerora. There is a large army of chefs on Cake Island, and lending a few people is nothing. In order to express his gratitude for his timely arrival, Longbread expressed his willingness to personally help design the cake. Chapter 211 Lingling's Strange Request, Yamato's Birthday Party. However, they did not set off directly. The chefs on Cake Island were exhausted, and they also had to rest for a night. Charlotte Linling, who had eaten the banana ice cream cake, regained her sanity. She did not seem to care about what happened here, and no one mentioned it. Then, according to Big Mom's request, she specially held a family banquet to entertain Zerora, who came from afar. Well, thank you for troubling you this time. Kaido really found a great subordinate. Zerora did not refute anything. After all, in the eyes of the outside world, they were all Kaido's subordinates, but Charlotte Linling's next words were a little unexpected. Do you want to be my husband? Zerora, I think you are great. Charlotte Linling looked at Zerora with a somewhat ambiguous expression, which made Zerora feel uncomfortable. No, I don't have any such idea. Look how cute these children are. Don't you want them to call you dad? Katakuri and the others were no longer surprised by Big Mom's words. They couldn't even count how many fathers they had. Moreover, Charlotte Linlin had a serious collecting habit. Her husbands were from all races. It was not surprising that she had some ideas after seeing the fur tribe. At this time, the photos taken by Zetsuna and him on Sky Island helped him a lot, and he used this as an excuse to tactfully reject Charlotte Linlin. The age gap between us is too big, and I already have a suitable partner. If it were an ordinary person, Charlotte Linlin would not mind forcing herself. Some of her husbands came that way, but Zerora was Kaido's man after all. Although she wanted the fur tribe very much, she did not force him too much. It was not worth falling out with Kaido for such a thing. That's all. If there's a suitable fur tribe, remember to introduce it to me. Charlotte Linling didn't say anything else afterwards. She simply chatted for a few words and let Longbread take the professional team to follow Zerora. They would depart from Cake Island, arrive at the nearby territory of the Beast Pirates, and then change ships to the vicinity of Wano country. Mom, that long-handed tribe member unfortunately died yesterday. Katakuri said carefully in Charlotte Linling's ear. The identity of the long-handed tribe member was Charlotte Linling's current husband, and now it should be said that he was her ex-husband. However, her attitude towards this was very cold. After all, for her, as long as the child was born, the man would be useless. Now her ex-husbands could almost make up 2 football teams. Really? What a pity. Bury them. Yes. By the way, have you found the pirates who robbed our things before? She couldn't ignore the pirates who robbed her things, unless she couldn't beat them. At present, Roger was the only one on the sea who stole the robbing of a historical text from her and nothing happened. But that was Roger, who had become the pirate king. She would let a few newcomers who had just come to the new world know what terror was. Found it. Daifuku and Owen have prepared the expedition team. We don't need them. Give me the address. I'll go there myself this time. Yes, Mom. Without bringing anyone else. Charlotte Linlin was only in her 40s. She was the strongest fighter of the Big Mom pirates. Watching Charlotte Linlin riding on the Thundercloud Zeus, Katakuri mourned for them for a few minutes. In Wano country, Quinn still felt something was wrong. He had slaughtered Perospero on the phone, but he didn't feel happy at all. The sense of crisis he had felt before was still lingering in his heart. For safety reasons, he thought it would be better to hide on a nearby island for a few days. Then he met Kaido, who had just returned at the edge of Onigashima, the location of the diving port. Quinn, where are you going? Ah, brother Kaido, nothing, just going out for a walk. I'll be back in a few days. Nothing? It's Yamato's birthday soon. You're running around for nothing. It seems you look down on me. No, brother Kaido, I definitely don't mean that. He only wanted to go out to avoid disaster and ended up forgetting about this. No need to say, I believe you. Brother Kaido, come to the roof of Onigashima tonight. I'll check the level of your armament haki training. Quinn's smile lasted less than 3 seconds, and Kaido pulled him back to reality. According to gossip, the people of Onigashima heard a very tragic scream that day. In fact, Kaido doesn't care about birthdays. He thinks it's meaningless. It's better to practice haki more with this time, but Arceus cares about this kind of thing, especially the psychological problems of children on Onigashima. Although there are some differences in treatment, it's still good overall. When Jack and Mariah had their birthdays, they also celebrated them simply. But compared to Yamato's, this is much worse. Although the whole group was not caught, all the members of Wano country also participated. The professional team of Longbread did not come to Onigashima, but was taken to the island outside Wano country by Zorora, where they made cakes. According to Yamato's preferences, personality traits, age, and taste habits, Longbread carefully designed a 3-layer mousse cake. He also saw the difference between the Beast's pirates. The Frosty Milk Fairies who provided cream made Longbread very excited. In his opinion, the Frosty Milk Fairies were very similar to the Homets made by Charlotte Linlin, but they could produce cream of various flavors. He wanted to take one back to Wano country. That was a partner that no pastry chef could refuse. Unfortunately, Zorora always disagreed. After all, it was Arceus's order. Frosty Milk Fairies and Little Fairy Milk were not allowed to enter the Wano country. On November 3, 1497, Yamato's 3rd birthday arrived as scheduled. She did not receive many gifts. Ordinary members could not take out anything at all. Few pirates had the habit of saving money. Asking them to give gifts was embarrassing for them. So only Carters and her friends are eligible to give gifts, but those are not her focus. She is more curious about what the 2 fathers will give her. Kaido did prepare a gift for her, AGN 2.0. The previous one is no longer suitable for her to use. As for Arceus, he gave her a small green ball of light. Godfather, what is this? This is a good thing. You will like it. Then he pressed the ball of light into her head. She didn't feel anything, but after that she found that she could feel the little fairy on her shoulder saying happy birthday to her, and even the meaning of the egg was understood more clearly. That ball of light is a special power. Many people call it the power of Changpan. Chapter 212, the beginning of Yamato's suffering day. Oden returns home. Although she understood some of the Jigglypuff language, the communication was completely different from the feeling now. Previously, she could only roughly understand what Jigglypuff meant, but now she can understand the details, including what Jack and Mariah's fairy milk said. This is the power of Evergreen. It has more abilities than these. You just need to develop it slowly. Understanding the voices of other Pokémon, communicating with them, healing their injuries, and increasing their strength in battle. This is the ability brought by the power of Evergreen. This is the power nurtured by the evergreen forest, but it is not difficult for Arceus to do such things. However, at the age of 3, she can only do this for the time being, and she has not mastered other powers yet. The cake carefully made by Babin was very delicious, and Yamato ate it directly to fill his stomach. As for tooth decay, this is a world where you can make up your teeth by drinking milk, and tooth decay is not worthy of living. Teeth are very hard parts of the human body, and the worms that can decay Yamato's teeth may not have been born yet. She seemed to have a lot to say when she just got the power of Evergreen, but when it was time to go to bed, Jigglypuff sent her away with a song. She has developed resistance to singing recently. At first, one Chansey could make her fall asleep, but now she needs a chorus. The next day, she had just dreamed that she had helped Arceus find many stone slabs, and she felt that someone had lifted her out of bed. Father? Wake up, Yamato, your training is about to begin. Ah, but it's not dawn yet. Yes, of course it's not dawn yet. There's still half an hour before dawn. You have to complete the mission I gave you before the sun rises, otherwise you won't have any food today. Help her change her clothes. Be quick, otherwise it will delay her time. Arceus should have told you about this. Kaido then gave his own request to the Chansey. Lucky Arceus had told them his order before, and even though the Chansey were distressed, they didn't stop their hands, and helped her change into sportswear in no time. As for the strange clothes Kaido originally asked the tailor of Wano country to make, Arceus directly rejected them. In his opinion, such wide clothes are completely meaningless, and will only get in the way. The mixed fabric made of white fluffy and wind fairy cotton is extremely comfortable and more suitable for close-fitting wear. On the roof of Onigashima, Yamato stood here at a loss. The sun in the distance was still below the sea level. Then she saw AGN 2.0 thrown beside her. Pick up your weapon and run. You are absolutely not allowed to stop without my order. Squeeze your body to the limit until there is no strength left. Now, immediately, run for me. At Kaido's request, Yamato was forced to run, but Kaido found that he had made a mistake. That is, he misjudged Yamato's physical strength. Drinking milk from the big milk can, eating eggs from the Jigglypuff, and some special tree fruits as supplementary food, her physical fitness is better than Kaido expected. He didn't expect Yamato to complete his training indicators. It was designed to challenge the limit. Only by constantly challenging the limit can you become stronger. According to his estimation, Yamato should have fainted by now, but the reality is that she was just panting, and it was obvious that she still had some strength left. Looking around, Kaido grabbed a handful of rocks and threw them at Yamato. Speed up. Slow down, if it's any slower I won't miss. Before the sun rose, Yamato still completed her physical training. Sweat soaked her hair, and clumps of hair stuck to her face. Although she was breathing heavily, she was still standing here sober. Very good. Rest for 10 minutes, and go to have breakfast in 10 minutes. After that, you have an hour to rest, and then start the morning training. The training has just begun. He has to personally judge to what extent Yamato can accept it, and then he can hand it over to others after a while. In fact, Arceus' ability is more suitable for training Yamato. Whether it is creating obstacles or other special abilities, Arceus has an advantage over him in physical training. But he felt that Arceus couldn't bear to do that, so he personally tried to test Yamato's limits, which is why Arceus has not been seen today. Lucky at breakfast, they felt distressed when they saw the exhausted Yamato and the chinchillas, and Jack and Mariah were also very curious about what happened to Yamato. However, they had just asked a few questions when they attracted Kaido's attention. I almost forgot about you two. You should come together later. Your training should start. In this way, the number of people training increased from 1 to 3, but their strength was much less than that of Yamato. In terms of physical fitness, even Jack, who was a fishman, was worse than Yamato now. Moreover, although the power of Evergreen is the power to heal Pokémon, it will also have a certain impact on humans. Although her power of Evergreen has not been fully awakened, it is constantly repairing her body internally, allowing her to accept stronger training. Keep going. Is this not enough? Do you still want to help your adoptive father with this level? It's too far, Yamato. 1 day, 2 days, this kind of training has never stopped since it began. She has cried and shouted, but she has never given up. Arceus' words before, and Kaido's words during training, have had a profound impact on her. As she adapted to the training, Arceus, who had disappeared for a while, returned here again. She has grown better than expected. You really put a lot of thought into her. From this point of view, her future will be much stronger than I thought. Have you found the bottom? Almost. The current strength is the most suitable for her. Just increase it gradually. I leave it to you. Don't be soft-hearted, otherwise all the previous efforts will be in vain. Don't worry, I won't be soft-hearted at this time. However, Kaido didn't really believe this last sentence, otherwise Arceus would not have left first during the previous training. Time gradually came to the end of 1497. Yamato's training has become normalized. On this day, the Golden Jackson also sent Kazuki Oden to the vicinity of Wano country. Kazuki Oden did not return to the Whitebird pirates after a year as promised to Whitebird, but returned directly to Wano country. During the journey with Roger, his thoughts changed greatly. On the beach of Kuri, Kazuki Oden appeared here alone. After many years, he who was supposed to inherit the title of Shogun finally returned to the country of Wano where everything had changed. Chapter 213, The People's Confused Heart. Before Joy Boy appears, this country needs to be founded. On the beach of Kuri, Kazuki Oden looked at the fishing boats in the inland sea in the distance, and repeated this sentence again. As a member of Roger's ship, he also saw the scene of Raftel. Since then, Joy Boy and the founding of the country have been lingering in his mind. In Oden Castle, the local residents were quite happy to see the return of Kazuki Oden, not because of anything else, but because of Kazuki Toki's efforts during this period, which made the local residents temporarily forget his irresponsible things. The residents of Wano country lacked understanding of the outside world. After some processing of Oden's stories outside, coupled with Kazuki Toki's own speaking ability, the locals' impression of Oden had changed a little. However, after returning to his residence, Kazuki Oden had already noticed something wrong. Whether it was Kazuki Toki, Momonosuke, or Inuyarashi, Korematsu and other retainers, their clothes were very worn out, and patches were a normal thing. Even the ordinary civilians outside could not compare. And he found that several people were missing, which was not in line with common sense. Logically, those retainers should be here when he comes back. Izo stayed on Whitebird's ship and did not come back, but Denjiro, Ashura Daoji, and Kinemon did not appear here. Where did Denjiro, Ashura Daoji, and Kinemon go? Ashura Daoji went back to the mountain to be the leader of those gangsters and bandits. After you were gone, he couldn't control them, so he went back to the mountain. Denjiro is borrowing and repaying money all over the country. As for Kinemon, Korematsu looked aside with a little embarrassment, and then Kinemon was pushed out. The impact caused at the beginning was a little big, and even the physique of the king of Kinemon had not fully recovered. What the hell is going on? Sir Oden, this matter has to start from the beginning. 3 years ago, Sukiyaki-sama passed away due to illness, and then Kurozumi Orochi took over the position of general. What? Is his father gone? Although his health is not very good, how could it be Orochi? We don't know much about this. Later, Kurozumi Orochi brought a pirate named Kaido into Wano country, and he used him as a military backup to do many excessive things. Many people on the street were captured by them and taken to the mining field, as were several friends that Kinemon knew. Then Kinemon wanted to save people, but they explained what happened to Kinemon, including the seizure of Taoyuan farm, but added their subjective consciousness in some places. For example, in their view, those thugs on the street were just ordinary people in Wano country, and the same was true for Kinemon's former younger brother. No one resisted. No one is the opponent of the beast's pirates, and their behavior is very strange. On the one hand, they watch Kurozumi Orochi endangering everyone, and on the other hand, they have conflicts with Kurozumi Orochi. Sometimes the beasts and Kurozumi Orochi do completely different things. Compared with Reizo's description, Inuyarashi's later description is closer to reality, and his evaluation of what happened in Wano country is more objective. However, when the news that Momonosuke was assassinated at the New Year's festival and Kazuki Toki was injured was spread, Kazuki Oden couldn't help it. Who did it? It was rumored at the beginning that the person was a member of the Beast's pirates, but later many people said that the person was always catching goldfish during the New Year's festival, so the person should be sent by Kirazumi Orochi. Kirazumi Orochi. Then he picked up Yanma and American English no Hibakari, and he went straight to the flower capital. The running Odin attracted the attention of the residents of Wano country. Seeing him rushing towards the flower capital with a knife, many people felt relieved. Lord Odin is back. That's great. Is Kirazumi Orochi finally going to be driven away? Yes, it's Orochi who caused all these things, but what about the beasts? They were very happy at first, but the influence of the beasts on Wano country has been significant over the past 3 years. If all of this disappears, he really can't accept it. Of course they will be driven away together by Lord Odin. Those outsiders shouldn't set foot on the land here. The problem is that our salaries are paid by the beasts now, right? The same goes for those cheap oxen. If they are gone, won't all of these be gone? The residents of Wano country can be divided into several categories. One category is those who were persecuted by Orochi, then taken in by Kagero's Chamber of Commerce, and finally worked for the beasts. These people have the closest relationship with the beasts, and have become accustomed to the existence of the beasts. In the current situation, they don't want the beasts pirates to leave. The changes brought by the beasts have completely affected their lives. The other category is the subordinates of Kirazumi Orochi, the vested interests after Kirazumi Orochi became the acting general, and these people are tied to the interests of Orochi. Those who watched Odin leave belong to another group. They were influenced by Orochi and received the benefits of the beasts. At the same time, they were still thinking about Kazuki Odin. It would be great if Lord Odin could drive away Kirazumi Orochi and continue to unite with the beasts pirates. Yes, it's all Orochi's fault that this situation has occurred. Seeing the changes brought about by the beasts pirates, many people began to accept the existence of the beasts, but at the same time they didn't like the rampant Orochi, so they eventually developed this emotion. Hey, have you forgotten that when Orochi did those things, the beasts pirates supported him behind him, otherwise he couldn't do it at all. But what the beasts pirates did is very different from what Kirazumi Orochi did. For a while, they quarreled. This was also the result of the beasts pirates in the past few years, allowing the local residents to accept their existence, and letting Kirazumi Orochi do all the dirty work. However, their quarrel could not affect the result. Odin quickly rushed to the flower capital, chopped down the Mackay group that blocked him, and rushed directly to the Orochi castle. Orochi is responsible for the security of Flower City. This is something he and the beasts pirates have discussed. The beast's behavior made him not dare to entrust his own safety to them. So when Orochi's hands were chopped to the ground, the members of the beasts just reported their own information. Captain Kaido, Lord Holy Beast, Kazuki Odin is back and is attacking Kirazumi Orochi's residence. It seems that the 200-person group outside Flower City has been wiped out. It will take at most 1 minute for him to rush in. In the sky of Flower City, Olga and Elizabeth sat on the back of the Millennium Dragon and reported the news. That guy looks so strong. Seeing Kazuki Odin comb a middle part on the stairs with a wave of his hand, the sword energy he created was also a strong man in Olga's experience over the years. Chapter 214, Kirazumi Orochi's acting skills. None of the guards that Orochi had summoned could match him. To be more precise, none of them were even qualified to take down a single blow from him. Ugh, Odin is back. How will Orochi deal with this? He must be in a very difficult situation now. After all, whether Kazuki Odin wins or we win, it means his death is imminent. Who knows, but the things have been arranged. Rotom. Following Arceus's call, a TV Rotom flew over. After a flickering screen, a picture of Orochi's side appeared. It was a miniature camera Rotom that was secretly sent out, just enough to observe the situation. Yamato. Come here and take a break for an hour. Yamato, who was doing an obstacle course, was very happy to hear Arceus call. This was a rare opportunity to take a break. However, although she got a break, she was pressed in front of the TV Rotom by Arceus. Godfather, what is this? Let me show you how treacherous the world of adults is. In the flower capital, when Orochi heard the report from his men outside the door, Kazuki Odin had already killed all the guards outside and rushed to Orochi with blood all over his body. That was not his blood, but the blood of the enemy. It was not until this time that Kurozumi Orochi remembered that Kazuki Oden was essentially a desperate madman. Although Kurozumi-chan Maru's barrier fruit blocked Oden's attack, Orochi's heart was still very complicated. Letting the wolf into the house was what he had done over the years. Although he was despicable and shameless, he was not a fool. The actions of the beast's pirates over the years and Kaido's slip of the hand when he first came to Wano country all showed that from the beginning they had no intention of completely uniting with him, but to occupy Wano country themselves. Now the actions of the beasts are completely different from the situation he wants to see, but it is easier to invite a god than to send him away, and he has no way to let Kaido leave. This is also the reason why he arranged for someone to assassinate Kazuki Momonosuke. Although he hated the people of the Kazuki family very much, he needed the power of Kazuki Oden. Only by provoking the conflict between him and Kaido, and preferably the two of them fighting each other to a draw, would he have a chance. He also knew some of Oden's thoughts. If he saw that Kaido made the residents of Wano country live better, he would be the one who persecuted the people. However, his external intelligence system was too bad, and he did not receive the news of Oden's return at all. When he knew the news, Kazuki Oden had already come to the door. Oden. Don't Oden, what are you going to do? What to do? Of course I'm going to chop you. Orochi, come out. Even Kazuki Oden couldn't break the barrier made by the barrier fruit, and Orochi's brain was constantly thinking about countermeasures. After Oden chopped hundreds of knives, Orochi made an unexpected move. Lord Oden, please listen to my explanation. Kurozumi Orochi suddenly stood up, then knelt on the ground with his knees together, put his hands together on his thighs, then put his hands inwards in a rage-shaped shape, leaned forward, and slammed his head hard on the ground. Sitting down, Orochi knelt directly in front of Kazuki Oden in a prostrate posture. Orochi, do you think I will let you go if you kneel down? If you have the guts, come out and fight me like a samurai. Lord Oden, I know you must be very angry, but please listen to my explanation. Chanmaru, remove the barrier. As he said that, he also ordered Kurozumi Chanmaru to remove the barrier that was shrouded outside. Kurozumi Chanmaru hesitated for a moment, but still obeyed Kurozumi Orochi's order. The reason why Kurozumi Orochi did this was because he was betting that Oden would hesitate when he saw him like this. If he lost the bet, he had more than one life anyway, so he could think of other ways. Although there was an element of gambling, he made the right bet. Enma stuck to his neck, but Oden didn't really chop it down. Okay, I'll give you a chance to explain. Thank you very much. Lord Oden. Orochi still didn't raise his head, but a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. The thing is, when Lord Sukiyaki was critically ill, he put aside the past grudges and forgave the mistakes of my grandfather, allowing me to take the position of acting shogun. This made me very moved. He squeezed out a lot of tears while speaking, giving people a feeling of crying and sobbing. Everyone knows about this. If you don't believe me, you can ask other daimyos. Then what? Kazuki Oden also heard his retainers mention this matter. After all, this was what Kurozumi Musashi did with the mimicry fruit, and the people of Wano country didn't know about it. And then, I'm sorry, Lord Oden. I did a lot of wrong things out of greed, and because the daimyos all hated me, I was confused for a moment and thought of using outsiders to deal with them, so I brought Kaido into Wano country. At first, I just treated him as a mercenary, but I didn't expect that he was so ambitious and wanted the entire Wano country. When I found out about this, it was too late. No one in Wano country is his opponent, and the beast's pirates are rampant here. I even found people from the world government through my connections, but even their agent Kaido didn't take him seriously and killed him in the sky above the flower capital in front of many people. He kowtowed and talked about his experiences over the years. To sum it up, all of this was done by Kaido, and he was forced to do it. Do you think I'm a fool? You looked so happy just now, while living a life of debauchery. Lord Oden, I'm doing this for Kaido to see. If I don't do this to cooperate with him, then Wano country will be turned into hell by him. I'm also a Wano country. How could I persecute the citizens? I know you must have heard a lot about my bad reputation, but that was all done by Kaido. He opened factories and forced citizens to work in mines. Although he will pay wages, that is just a means for him to win people's hearts. For every gold he pays, he will take 3 golds from the treasury of Wano country. At the end, he looked up at Odin. Lord Odin, I did make mistakes, but the real scourge of Wano country is Kaido. I have been waiting for you to come back every day these years. Only you can lead us to expel him, and let Wano country return to freedom. If you look for the best actor in Wano country, that person is not in the theater or the brothel, but Kurozumi Orochi. He never tells the truth, but Kazuki Odin actually feels that he has wronged him. But in the end, he still put American English no habazan on his neck. Then how do you explain my wife's matter? Chapter 215, Naive Odin. Of course it was Kaido who did it. How could I hurt the lady and the prince? And Lord Odin, I believe you have heard the rumors. It was Kaido's people who did it. But they later found a new reason to cover it up. A pirate would actually go to fish for goldfish. Do you believe this? Kurozumi Orochi seemed to be completely immersed in the play. Even when someone put a knife on his neck, he was not afraid. You must have known about Lord Kinemon. In fact, Kaido wanted to execute him directly at the beginning, but I worked hard to get through. I have been silently contributing to Wano country. Shameless. Godfather, this person is so shameless. Above Onigashima, Yamato was shocked when watching the pictures broadcast by Rotom on TV. In her opinion, Orochi was just talking nonsense. Although she didn't understand the various things in it, in her opinion, Kaido was not the kind of person described by Orochi. And those things were not done by the beast's pirates. This is the world of adults, a world full of deception. You see, he abandoned his dignity in order to survive, and he was full of nonsense. Do you know why? Yeah, because he is too weak. Yamato, you are my daughter. You must not be a weak person, understand? Kaido gave Yamato the answer directly. In his opinion, everything Orochi did was because he was weak. Kaido still has some father-daughter feelings for Yamato, but his education method is definitely not successful, but this method is not too alternative. The education of Garp next door is not much different from his, and they are all deadly if they are not careful. The biggest difference is that Luffy just met a red-haired man and then wanted to be a pirate, while Yamato was directly possessed and brainwashed. But the situation is different now. Kaido still has his own fatherly love for Yamato. By the way, remember this guy's face. He was the one who deceived your adoptive father when we first came to Wano country. I understand, this guy is a complete villain, and he is also very ugly. As for Kazuki Odin, after Orochi's nonsense, he really had doubts. Lord Odin, this position originally belonged to you. Logically speaking, now that you are back, this position should be returned to you. But please forgive me, I cannot let you be the general now. If you take the throne of the general now, Kaido will definitely find something wrong. At that time, there will be a big war in Wano country. Although I believe in your strength, Kaido is not weak either. Moreover, there are 1,000 strong pirates in the country alone, and several powerful Kadas. If a war breaks out, the people will inevitably suffer a lot of casualties. He wanted to instigate Odin and Kaido to be enemies, but he didn't want them to fight immediately, otherwise his good days would be gone after the fight. So Kurozumi Orochi suggested Kazuki Odin not to start a war on the grounds of caring about the people. This really touched Kazuki Odin's heart. Before he left, he acted decisively enough, but after he came back, he became timid. There will be casualties in war, which is a truth that even Luffy understands, but Odin can't do it. I have a plan. Kaido's people must have known that you are here. Now he trusts me. We can use their tricks to break down Kaido's vigilance first, and then take him down by surprise. Lord Odin, what do you think? What plan? You will perform the Kamasutra dance to make Kaido relax his vigilance, and a trustworthy person will secretly accumulate strength and drive him out at the right time. In the Hakume area, at the residence of Shimotsuki Yasu, Kazuki Odin came here, but in the end he still failed to directly chop down Kurozumi Orochi. It's not that he believed in Kurozumi Orochi, there must be lies in those words, but he agreed with what Kurozumi Orochi said. If a war starts now, there will inevitably be a lot of casualties, which he doesn't want to see. Lord Odin, is this what you said to Orochi? Yes, Yasuji. What has happened in Wano country over the years? It's similar to what you know. Although I think Orochi's words are unreliable. Oden, it's just a piece of cake for you to deal with Orochi. Even if his position as acting general was given by Sukiyaki-sama, you are Sukiyaki-sama's only son. But Kaido is different. I have to admit that what he did has greatly improved the living conditions of some residents of Wano country. This is the most terrifying thing. He is digging the roots of Wano country. This is the most intuitive feeling of Shimotsuki Yasuji, the people's hearts. The beast's pirates are working on the people's hearts, but because of the special situation of Wano country, the effect is relatively slow. Orochi and Oden are not comparable in all aspects. In Yasuji's view, as long as Oden says a word, the daimyos from all over the country will cooperate with him to clean up Kirizumi Orochi. But Kaido is different. He not only has a strong military force, but also gradually gained the recognition of the people of Wano country. Kaido has evil ambitions. Although what he did is a good thing for many people. Oden, Wano country is the Wano country of the Kazuki family. I think we can temporarily join forces with Orochi to expel Kaido first, and then think of a solution. But his plan, if it works, I can ignore it for the sake of face. No, Lord Oden, Orochi's words are not very credible. If you really want to do this, you must not tell others for the sake of confidentiality. Otherwise you will definitely not be able to fool Kaido. To be on the safe side, I will go with you to talk to Orochi. So Oden and Shimotsuki Yasu came to the flower capital again at night. This time, Orochi was not as arrogant as at the beginning, and his face was full of humility. Lord Oden, Lord Yasu, what do you think of my plan? Orochimaru, you should know what the consequences will be. Yes, I know, but only this kind of humiliation can make Kaido believe me. And after the success, I can issue a statement to explain it clearly to the entire Wano country, letting everyone know that Lord Oden sacrificed himself for the people. Lord Yasu, you can also testify for this, and the matter of accumulating power can only be left to you. After all, you are the most trustworthy among the many daimyo. Kazuki Oden nodded at Shimotsuki Yasu, and then Shimotsuki Yasu took out a pen and paper. Words are not enough. Let's write a document. Orochi, this document will be kept by me, and it will not be made public until the day the matter is exposed. Of course, this is as it should be. After all, it is related to the reputation of Lord Oden. But Lord Yasu, there are some things you still need to pay attention to. Chapter 216. Everyone watching the joke. Roger surrendering himself. What? Kaido and his men have many spies in Wano country, so you must be careful in your actions, and not make a big show. Then he began to discuss details with Oden and the others, such as not looking for help from overseas for safety, and Oden did not intend to do so. He believed that this was Wano country's own business and others should not be involved. But where are Kaido's people? It has been so long since the incident, and you have cleaned up the outside, but Kaido's people haven't come yet. Really not. Kaido often leaves here to do something. Maybe he just happened to be away. On Onigashima, the cadres of the beast pirates in Wano country gathered together, and the macro monitor Rotom broadcast everything that happened there here. The essence of Rotom is an electronic ghost, and when it is not moving, it is no different from an ordinary machine, so no one has discovered it. Orochi thought his plan was flawless, which could cause a conflict between Oden and Kaido, but not let the conflict break out immediately, so that he could judge the situation, and then detonate the conflict. But he didn't know that Kaido was watching their jokes from beginning to end, and now he treated it as a night movie. Yamato has gone back to sleep. Kaido's training policy for her is to go to bed early, and get up early. If she doesn't sleep now, she won't have enough energy the next day. Her schedule is now very full, and she has just gone back to take a bath. And it was a medicinal bath, a medicine specially prepared by Nakin to nourish the body. She is a genius who can achieve rejuvenation through herbs, and it is a piece of cake for her to prepare such a little thing. The only problem is that the ingredients are precious and the cost is very high, but this is nothing for the beast's pirates. After all, there is a steady supply of funds from the beast's fruit. After hearing that they have confirmed the plan, Quinn couldn't help it at all. Dancing with the fruit? Hahaha, what kind of method can only be thought of by an idiot? And he actually agreed? Yeah, it's stupid. Why don't you go and dance with him? You two idiots should be quite a good match dancing together. Wherever Quinn is, there will be quarrels. His quarrels with Jin and Shaina have become a unique style within the Beast's pirates. There is a small quarrel every 3 days, a big quarrel every 5 days, a beating every week, and disappearing once a month. He was beaten because he couldn't beat Jin and Shaina. Although he tried very hard, the other two not only tried harder than him, but also had unique talents and blood advantages, and even some attribute restraints, which made Quinn very difficult. As for why he disappeared once a month, it was to prevent being beaten too hard, and recently he discovered a strange situation. Setsuna replaced the target for archery practice with his photo, and he himself didn't know when he offended the wolf. Following Shaina every day, Setsuna gave him a new sense of crisis. He heard that, if the level of observation haki is high enough, one can predict the future. For some reason, he felt that he was about to reach that level. However, no matter how noisy it is, business still needs to be done. Kaido, you should go to find Orochi tomorrow, otherwise it will be inappropriate. That's true, but do you really want to do that? Of course, that woman Kazuki Toki helped Oden to restore some of his reputation. If this happens, his face will be ruined. As for clarifying the matter, he must have this opportunity. Oden didn't want too many casualties, and Arceus and Kaido didn't want to either. It took a lot of effort to train this group of elites, and when Kaido heard their plan, he just felt that he was giving away points. According to Oden's relationship, if he went all out to find Roger's crew and Whitebeard's help in the open sea, then the current beasts really couldn't be his opponent. In that case, he would have to start all over again to fight the beasts. He had to admire this opponent who played a good hand so badly, wasting the opportunity and losing their own face. It must be said that Orochi really helped them a lot. Arrange people to keep an eye on the Shimotsuki Yasu and those daimyo, and let Kajero find a few people to sneak in. Understood, but Lord Shengju, that document? Leave it alone. The handwriting can be forged, the person can be coerced, that thing has no credibility at all. Although the contract for the 100 beasts fruit is valid, it is our own military force that makes the contract valid. Without these strengths, it is just a piece of waste paper. Orders were passed down from the top of Onigashima. In order to keep it secret, the people below did not know the detailed tasks at all, and they were just doing things according to the instructions of the cadres. And Kaido also met Kurozumi Orochi. Kurozumi Orochi had a smug expression on his face, saying that the plan was that Oden was afraid of his threat, so he chose to dance the fruit dance every week to please him. Kaido, who watched the whole live broadcast, did not say anything, pretending that he believed Orochi's words, and at the same time, as he wished, he took a large amount of gold from him. In order to maintain his so-called personality, Kurozumi Orochi continued to levy heavy taxes. Except for the fact that there was a fool dancing in a loincloth on the streets of Flower Capital every week, nothing changed much. In order to implement the plan, he did not tell anyone about the plan except Shimotsuki Yasu, even his family and retainers. Whenever someone questioned him, he just smiled. This made the people more puzzled, and Oden's heart was not so calm. He would usually walk around Wano country, watching the changes in Wano country, and he didn't know if what he did was right. The shepherd boy riding the three-tailed monster cow, the woman leading a few wine fairies, and those people with smiles on their lips, made him more and more confused, but every time he saw the retainers and some encouragement from Yasu, he strengthened his inner thoughts. To realize the founding of the country before Joy Boy arrived, in his opinion, that was the only correct way. The gears of the world will not stop turning, because of the behavior of a certain person. Whether it was sunny or rainy, Oden did not stop his stupid behavior. And in other seas, many things are happening. August 1498, South China Sea, Baterala Island. Are you leaving? Yes, I don't have much time left, I still have things I have to do. Thank you, Lu Jiu, for making the last year of my life very happy. Roger boarded the boat, just like he did decades ago, when he went out to sea, but this time he did not hide from anything, and came to the naval base in the South China Sea alone. Don't be so nervous, sailors, I'm here to surrender. Raising his hand slightly, Roger showed a meaningful smile to these naval recruits. There will be another chapter later. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. we cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 217 The Great Pirate Era begins. In the South China Sea, an ordinary naval base, the guards in the base were on high alert for the man in front of them. After all, he was the legendary Pirate King, the most heinous criminal in the world, government reports. Although he was in shackles, even if he just moved his hands, he would cause the guards to be nervous. They didn't know that this ordinary prison couldn't hold him at all, and he could leave here at any time if he wanted. Don't be so nervous, young man. Do you want to chat casually? Although he was pointed at by a gun, Roger was not panicked at all, and even started to joke with the guards. This kind of day has been going on for a while. Today, with the arrival of a dog-headed warship, the people in the South China Sea base finally breathed a sigh of relief. Vice Admiral Garp. Vice Admiral Garp. Oh, Garp, is it you who came? Garp's arrival seemed to be within Roger's expectations. After all, this was the Navy that had been chasing him for decades. Roger, you guy. Although Garp had always wanted to arrest Roger, Roger's surrender was far beyond his expectations. So 1 year after Roger became the Pirate King, another sensational event occurred. The Pirate King Goldie Roger was arrested. Of course, the newspapers still used Roger's pseudonym and changed his surrender to arrest. After the meeting of the world government, in order to deter more and more pirates on the sea, Roger will be executed in the East China Sea, his hometown, and the final location is chosen as Rogue Town. The newsbird sent the news that Roger was going to be executed to all parts of the world. Countless young people began to set sail for Rogue Town. They all wanted to see what the Pirate King looked like. Most of Roger's crew members also saw the news. They understood that their captain had finally chosen that path. There were also many pirates who sighed and even laughed at this. Roger had a lot of enemies on the sea. However, there are exceptions among the enemies. At the base camp of the Golden Lion angrily swept away the things in front of him. Impossible. That is the man who defeated me. How could he be caught by the Navy? He said that he ignored the obstruction of his men and went to the Navy headquarters alone. Marine headquarters, Marineford. It was raining heavily in the sky. Golden Lion floated alone outside the Marine headquarters. The huge warship was like a toy in his hands. The bodies of the Navy soldiers under his feet had piled up into a small mountain. Hand over Roger. How can you? The rubbish. Catch Roger. Roger has been caught. He will be executed in the East China Sea, which symbolizes peace. Sengoku untied his tie, and the color of his body gradually turned gold. He suppressed anger in his tone. The weakest East China Sea. You are insulting him. If you want to kill him, hand him over. Only I have the right to kill him. The battle between Sengoku, Garp, and Golden Lion lasted for a long time. Half of the town near Marineford was destroyed. The two finally defeated the angry Golden Lion and locked him up in the underwater prison in Pelton. On Ghost Island, a sea was commanding several pirates. A little higher. A little more to the left. No, it's too far. Come back a little. Okay, this is it. Don't move. Several pirates fixed the antenna to a similar position. This is a signal booster, so that it can receive the signal from Rogue Town. In order to deter other pirates, this is a live broadcast that covers the whole world. However, the signal here in Wano country is not very good, so an additional antenna needs to be set up. Roger's execution can be said to be a big event that shocked the sea. However, there are many things happening in Wano country recently. It is not realistic to go to the East China Sea from here, and no big pirate intends to go to Rogue Town. Although it is not said, in order to prevent unexpected factors, the defense of Rogue Town must be extremely strict. Watching the broadcast is the best way. Time came to October, and on the first day of October, the day of Roger's execution arrived. Roger's steps became a little heavy, not because of the shackles or torture, but because the illness gradually reached his limit. As he walked onto the execution platform, the weather became gloomy and rain began to fall from the sky. And the crowd watching under the execution platform was also mixed with future celebrities. Jordal Mahawk, Darn Quixote Flamingo, Crocodile, Gecko Moria, Monkey D. Dragon, Shanks, Buggy, Smoker, and countless others who were drowned by the tide of the times gathered here. On Onigashima, Arceus was also watching the live broadcast. Why, are you interested in Roger? No, I can't say I'm interested. I just came to witness the beginning of the era. Era? Why are you talking nonsense like those guys who play Prophecy? Kaido found that he began to not understand what Arceus was saying. After all, he had been waiting here since the time came and even brought Yamato and other children here. The executioner had raised the long sword in his hand, and the classic greeting was also transmitted through the video Den Mushi. Hey, Pirate King, where are all your treasures? Do you want my treasures? If you want, I can give them all to you. Go find them. I put all the treasures there, at the end of the Grand Line, Raftel. The world government wanted to suppress the turbulent sea, but they did not expect that Roger's last words would be these words. The long sword fell, and Goldie Roger's life came to an end. Heavy rain poured down at this time. Some people cried loudly in front of the square, and some laughed. On the same day, pirate ships from all over the world set out to sea one after another. Countless people rushed to enter the Grand Line, aiming at the great secret treasure mentioned by Roger, and began their own voyage. The great pirate era has arrived. Is this what you wanted to see? It's a good last word, and a refreshing way to die. The sea is going to be in chaos now. Quinn, tell the people on other islands to cheer up, those ignorant guys are coming again. It's not just Kaido. Almost all the pirates who have territories in the New World understand what the future will be like. In the Totland Sea, Perospero tripled the manpower to escort the fruit. If he met another fool, he really couldn't stand it. On a Moby Dick, Whitebeard also sent out his captains to protect the safety of the territory. The world government was also not idle. They began to search for people related to Roger, but there seemed to be something wrong with their brains. Instead of searching for those fighters, they investigated pregnant women. Chapter 218 Gas bombs in the bathhouse. In the flower capital, Oden is still carrying out that stupid plan, but today is a little special. Kurozumi Orochi secretly found him. After all, Orochi's current personality in Oden's place is forced, so he has to take the initiative to reveal some information to the other party. Lord Oden, this is a newspaper I got from Kaido. Roger. Seeing the news of Roger's death, Kazuki Oden cried on the beach of Kuri, and also determined in his heart that he wanted to establish a country. And all over the world, Roger's members have also begun to be cleared out. In the Seven Water capital, Fishman Tom was sentenced to death for building a pirate ship for Goldie Roger, and finally obtained a 10-year reprieve through the manufacturing plan of the sea train. In the factory in Rabbit Bowl, new problems have also emerged, not the problem of manpower or unrest, but the problem of pollution. Alalamud has dealt with the problem of industrial wastewater, but with the increase in the number of factories, industrial waste gas has become a new problem. Although mud can eat wastewater and toxic residues, it has no way to deal with the gas in the sky, so new Pokemon have appeared in Wano country again. Onigashima, bathroom, Arceus rarely appears here. Lord Arceus, you actually come here. Hey, you guys, make some room. When sailing, you may not be able to take a shower for a long time due to the shortage of freshwater resources, but when stationed on land, even pirates will pay attention to hygiene and cleanliness. Led by Quinn, a group of pirates are relaxing in the bathroom. This is also the most relaxing time for Quinn. Whether it is Shaina or Setsuna, they can't appear here. The female bathroom is on the roof of Onigashima, and the area is much smaller than here. After all, the ratio of men to women in the pirate group is still very different. You continue. I'm not here to take a shower. He came here just to solve the problem of factory pollution. Alala's stinky mud can eat wastewater, and naturally there are Pokemon that eat waste gas, such as the double bomb gas and gas bomb in the Galar region. As for why he came to the bathroom, it is common sense that the first gas bomb appeared in the bathroom, and it is indeed used to boil water and heat here. Below is the gas pipeline that has just been built. The pirates who were able to enter Onigashima first were all elite members of the Beast Pirates, and they were considered veterans. They were not surprised by Arceus's divine appearance in front of people. Some purple strange balls gradually appeared in the bathroom. Some were single, and some were double-bodied creatures with strange connections. Then their bodies gradually turned grey, and tall chimney-like objects appeared above their heads. In the past, there were many factories in the Gala region, and the air was seriously polluted. The double bomb gas and gas bombs originally fed on waste gas in the air. In the era of heavy pollution, they underwent a unique evolution. Unlike ordinary double bomb gas that absorbs and produces poisonous gas, Gala's double bomb gas absorbs pollutants in the atmosphere and uses polluted air and poisonous gas as food. These gases inhaled into the body will filter out toxins through special organs in the body, just like human cells absorb nutrients, absorbing things that are beneficial to themselves and excreting waste. For them, poisonous gas and waste are food, and fresh air in the body is waste. The chimney above the head will discharge fresh air. The released air becomes very clean and fresh because it has been purified. This is how Gala's double gas and gas bomb excrete. Due to the regional form, Gala's double gas also became a dual attribute of poison and fairy. After retrieving the fairy slate, this type of Pokemon that filters the air was born. As expected of Lord Arceus, he has created a new and amazing creature. Yes, and this creature is like a natural pirate. They are referring to the icon on the abdomen of double gas that is similar to the pirate flag. This pattern makes them feel more intimate as pirates. The appearance of double gas and gas bombs has made the turbid air in the bathroom much fresher. Arceus is about to arrange someone to take them to the factory area, which will be their cafeteria and dormitory in the future. However, at this time, there are always some dangerous actions, such as Quinn. He touched the corner of the mouth of the double bomb gas in a suicidal way. In the past, the creatures created by Arceus were very safe. Even the Alola slime would be fine, as long as it didn't touch the poison crystals. But Gala's double bomb gas was different. Pokemon with poison attributes would have a place that was highly toxic, and the place where Gala's double bomb gas was highly toxic was the beard at the corner of their mouth. The toxins accumulated in the body of Gala's double bomb gas would turn into high concentration poison gas and leak out of the body, floating around the mouth, to form their unique beard. Even if ordinary people inhale a small amount of this gas, it would paralyze the whole body and make them unable to move. However, this gas is controlled by double bomb gas and will not spread normally, but it can't stop someone from doing it. As a person who studies chemical poison gas every day, Quinn actually poked the poison gas at the corner of double bomb gas's mouth with his hand, and then took a green ball of poison gas and put it next to his nose to smell it. Brother Quinn. Seeing Quinn suddenly stiffen and fall to the ground, the pirates beside him were shocked, but in less than a minute, the paralyzed Quinn actually recovered. What did you do? Arceus didn't see what Quinn did. He was obviously poisoned, but he was not affected at all. This was not a resistance, but a real detoxification. It's the peach fruit. When I modified my body, I removed the ammunition compartment in my body, and then I modified it again. I put some antidotes made from peach fruits in my body. Whenever there is a problem with my body, it will be automatically injected. This is the most powerful antidote I have ever seen. Since making this modification, Quinn has a new method when testing new toxins. He can experience it personally. Only in this way can he determine the effect of the toxin. It was the same just now. Otherwise, with his physique, he would never be poisoned so quickly. He did this deliberately, just to try the effect of the gas that was obviously poisonous. Lord Arceus, where are you going to send them? The factory in Tawin. The air quality there has been a bit bad recently. I see, just like those stinky muds. Lord Arceus, leave them to me. I'll take them there later. The gas around their mouths is also a rare and good material. Since Quinn had made the request, Arceus handed the double bombs to him. Don't delay too long. These little guys are a little hungry, and the exhaust gas in the bathroom is not enough for them to eat. Understood. Don't worry. Chapter 219. The Turbulent New World. The Expeditionary Team. The impact of the Great Pirate Era began to ferment gradually. The wreckage of crashed pirate ships can often be seen at the foot of Upside Down Mountain, and the New World has become turbulent. Before Roger appeared, many pirates lacked a clear goal. They also didn't know what their ultimate goal was. When they were not sure whether they could see tomorrow, they only considered the present as what they needed to pay attention to. With Roger's dying declaration, these pirates seemed to have a goal, either for fame or for Roger's so-called treasure, and they shouted to become the Pirate King and embarked on their own journey. In February 1499, Roger had been dead for 4 months. The first pirates to go to sea had reached the location of Fishman Island, and a large number of newcomers from the Four Season Paradise were about to pour into the cruel New World. In the New World, it was not only Roger who had a great impact, but also Golden Lion. Originally, Golden Lion's base camp was a floating island connected together. With the ability of his floating fruit, few people could enter Golden Lion's base camp. However, as Golden Lion was sent to prison by Garp and Sengoku, these floating islands outside were naturally unable to maintain themselves. The collapse of the island caused greater damage to the remnants of Golden Lion. Without the leadership of Golden Lion, the pirate groups that originally depended on him began to fight for territory and fight each other. Golden Lion's territory was completely in chaos. However, like Walt, Golden Lion also has his own jihadists. They firmly believe that Golden Lion will come out again. Under the leadership of Dr. Indigo, they retreated to a hidden island, which was also the retreat arranged by Golden Lion before. When others started fighting, they had already retreated to the side, but the intervention of other pirates in the New World broke the original deadlock. The Big Mob Pirates, the Beasts Pirates, and the Whitebeard Pirates all took action, and even Whitebeard did not ignore it. The territories of Whitebeard and Golden Lion were adjacent. After Golden Lion was imprisoned, the chaos in the Golden Lion territory gradually affected Whitebeard. So he also led the Whitebeard Pirates to occupy a part of the territory and maintained the stability of his territory in an isolated way. Whitebeard is also a pirate, and his territory is not given to him by others. Even he needs to collect taxes, otherwise he can't afford the daily expenses of the pirate group. But compared with ordinary brutal pirates, Whitebeard's style of doing things is much gentler, and the fees he charges are also within the acceptable range of civilians. And now Whitebeard's flag means safety, which is enough for the island to survive in this turbulent era. Golden Lion was imprisoned, Roger died, and people of the same era were almost in this state. Walt, John, Wang Zhi, and those great pirates of the year have all ended with the times. Whitebeard has become a well-deserved overlord, and the Red Earl is also a card, but he has always been a lone ranger, so the disputes in the New World have little to do with him. Charlotte Linlin will certainly not miss this opportunity, and is also expanding her affiliated territories. Although it has not become a native territory like the islands in the Totland Sea, it has also obtained a large number of affiliated islands that can collect taxes. In Wano country, Kaido did not miss this opportunity. Jin, Quinn, and Olga, I'll leave it to you three this time. Olga's ID card shows that she is 18 years old. Although the influence of pure gold makes her look a little young, she has almost been through 10 years of training since the day she left the belly of the Sea King. She is proficient in two-color domineering, and Zorok's ability is basically mastered in her hands, which is enough for going out to fight. Now is the battle of the world, but unlike Whitebeard and Big Mom, the base camp is stable, and now Wano country is also developing, so the Beast Pirates have to choose to split up. Take half of the elite in Wano country, and the manpower outside is ready. This is the goal this time, to plant our flag on all these islands. The target of this operation was circled on the nautical chart. Kaido was not a fool. This operation had avoided the range of action of Whitebeard and Charlotte Linlin. The main target was those newcomers and the remnants of the Golden Lion. Zorora, you should take Setsuna with you. We have Shaina in the country, so we'll be able to use them. Yes, sir. Kaido and Arceus were both in the country, so the departure of the Carters would not have a big impact. After all, they were the strongest force in the pirate group, but they still had to leave some people to help. In the end, Shaina stayed. As for why Kaido didn't go, Yamato had been through more than a year of physical training, and the next stage of training was underway, so he couldn't spare any time for the time being. Don't force yourself when you encounter an opponent you can't beat. It's no big deal to retreat first. I'll take you back then. Before they set off, Kaido gave his final instructions. His thinking hadn't changed much. Ordinary members could be consumables, but carders couldn't. So when they weren't opponents, he still asked the carders to focus on themselves. Everyone knew that it was impossible for all the people who went out to come back. This was a war, and war would inevitably be accompanied by casualties. However, in the face of military exploits and the benefits it brought, these pirates were still eager to fight. In the open sea, in other territories of the beast's pirates, the residents in the territories also began their usual war investment, and the pirate ships began to gather to the corresponding locations. And Kurozumi Orochi continued his acting career. Lord Odin, half of Kaido's men have left. This is an opportunity. His tone was extremely enthusiastic, as if he really wanted to drive Kaido out. What about Kaido? He is still the same as usual, there is no change. Orochi, you should know that Kaido is the main problem. As the only insider, Shimotsuki Yasu said seriously. If Kaido cannot be completely eradicated, even if he is driven away by the opportunity, he can still gather people to make a comeback. Don't you know this? How much casualties will the people have to pay by then? In Shimotsuki Yasu's view, Kazuki Odin has lost face. Since he has lost face, he must deal with everything at once. Today he is still that serious, completely different from him who ate the failed product smile. Yes, I'm too naive. I will pay more attention to Kaido's intelligence. Orochi left here again, but his mouth was full of pride. He knew Kazuki Odin and Shimotsuki Yasu very well, and it can be said that he said this on purpose. Fight. I'm the final master of Wano country. Odin, Kaido, I will definitely return the humiliation you brought to me. Chapter 220 Thunder Gossip. Moonlight Moria. Yamato, watch out. This is how to use a mace. Thunder. Bagua. On the roof of Onigashima, Kaido swung his mace at a target, condensed by Arceus with vines. The base was wrapped with lightning and domineering, and the target in front of him became fragmented under Kaido's attack. You wanted to learn this move now? This is the basics. Most of my moves are evolved from this Thunder Bagua. No domineering, add-armed color, or app with domineering color, but I have just got a little clue about the domineering color app. Kaido had heard Rox mention this at first, and only knew that it was a very difficult skill. He has just touched the threshold now. Haki and the like can be learned later, but her current physique has met the minimum requirements. Yamato, move your hands a little higher and step a little further apart, so that it will be easier to exert force. Arceus couldn't help Kaido's teaching. His fighting style was different. Although he had a variety of elemental attacks, close combat was Kaido's main method, but he was different. He didn't need to go to close combat. With so many skills, Arceus is an ultimate turret with unlimited firepower. There is nothing that cannot be solved by one shot of light gravel of sanction. If there is, then just shoot again. Although powerful, his fighting style cannot be copied. At most, it can be used as a reference in some aspects. However, Arceus still interferes with Kaido's teaching methods. For example, Kaido believes that in order for Yamato to understand the power of Thunder Bagua, she should experience it herself. This was strongly opposed by Arceus, even though Kaido believed that he could control the force. A month later, the battle situation of the four teams was also reported back. The situation is good with Jin, and the first island has been conquered. The same is true for Quinn. Olga's progress is slow. She is too concerned about casualties, so the progress is the slowest. Although Zerora encountered a tough opponent, it was not a problem. Only Setsuna was slightly injured. Overall, the operation has achieved good results. The casualties are within our acceptable range, and we have not encountered any difficult opponents. Shaina put away her report. This is the information they sent back. After 10 years of development, the beast pirates are no longer in the state of having only a small boat when they first set out to sea. They are strong and powerful. Today, with a vacant position on the sea, the influence of the beasts is becoming greater and greater. Very good. Continue to act according to the plan. At the same time, in the waters near Wano country, a pirate ship appeared here, with a grinning skull painted on the mainsail. The top of the skull is covered with horn-like decorations, and there are flame-like patterns on both sides. Behind it is not the traditional crossbones, but a pair of bat wings. This is a ship belonging to the Moonlight Pirates. On the deck, stood a tall man with extremely white skin, a pair of short horns on his head, wearing a black windbreaker and purple hair. This is the captain of the ship, Moonlight Moria, with a bounty of 320 million berries, and he is a well-deserved supernova this year. At this time, he was still the captain of the Moonlight Pirates. The terror bark had not yet appeared, and his pirate ship was just an ordinary pirate ship that was slightly larger. More than a year ago, he witnessed Roger's execution and stimulated his heart. Born in the West Sea, he did not choose to return to the West Sea, but directly entered the Grand Line and established his own Moonlight Pirates in the same year. After more than a year of hard work, Moria and his companions passed through Fishman Island and finally arrived in the New World. Not long ago, the Moonlight Pirates had just fought a big battle with the pirates of the New World, and Moria won a great victory, which further strengthened the confidence of the people on the ship. Moria, you will definitely become the Pirate King, right? I have to call you Captain. When will you remember that? It doesn't matter, you can call me whatever you want. Anyway, he is right. I will definitely become the Pirate King. Looking at his companions playing, Moria was in high spirits, and he was full of confidence at this time. At this time, the ship suddenly shook violently, and many people on the ship fell to the ground in this violent vibration. Hey, Nord, can you drive a boat? If you can, come on. We seem to be caught in some current. The currents in the New World are too complicated. This is the waters outside Wano country. Those dangerous currents are complicated. There is only one way to reach Wano country safely. If you are not careful, you will run aground. Whitebeard's ship was severely damaged here. Nord, is everything okay? It's a bit troublesome, but it's okay. Leave it to me, Captain Moria. Well, I believe in you. You are the best navigator I have ever seen. With his skills, the Moonlight Pirates ship sailed smoothly here, and also saw the giant carp that is unique to Wano country. Although Arceus transformed several Magikarp, there are still a large number of ordinary giant carp here. After many twists and turns, they successfully rushed to the waterfall of Wano country. Captain Moria, there is an island on the waterfall. When the people on the boat stood up again, they saw the main island of Wano country. There are 2 waterfalls in Wano country. The waterfall on the harbor is steeper, and the possibility of rushing up from there is almost zero, so they came up from the other side. Due to the obstruction of vision, they did not see Onigashima. This is the charm of the Grand Line. In addition to the Fishman Island below 10,000 meters, there is actually an island here. Let's go, brothers. Oh. At this moment, Kaido was not on Onigashima. He and Yamato were on the snow behind Ling. Arceus said that education should be entertaining, and let children take the initiative to receive education. Kaido thought it made sense, so he brought them here. Father, what are we doing here? Of course I'm taking you to play snowballs. Playing snowballs? Really? Of course it's real, but the way to play is different from what you usually play. Kaido asked Yamato, Moria, Jack and others to stand in the middle of the snow, and then bent down and grabbed a handful of snow. With a clenched hand, a solid snowball appeared in his hand. Watch out for me, the 3 of you. He threw the snowball, and Yamato only heard a sound of breaking air in his ears. When she and Jack and others looked back, a small tree as thick as a wrist was broken. The game time is 30 minutes. You can hide, block, or of course, you can also try to attack me. In short, try your best to survive. The loose snowflakes became harder under the pressure, and with Kaido's own strength, the 3 little ones quickly began to dodge. Help. I don't want to play anymore. Father, this is not fun. No, Yamato, there are still 29 minutes. The game has just begun. Chapter 221 Kaido's delayed moment. Yamato was originally very happy because Kaido had never played with her in these years, but after the game started, she found that this game was completely different from what she thought. Whether they could dodge or not had little to do with themselves. A group of 4 or 5-year-old children had no possibility of dodging Kaido's attack. Even if it was just a snowball, it could be a deadly weapon in Kaido's hands. The snowball that broke the small tree before was an example. If Kaido wanted to hit them, they would not be able to dodge it anyway, but he had control over his strength. Those snowballs would cause bruises and pain when they hit the body, but they would definitely not endanger their lives. They were just scared once or twice in order to let them experience the threat of death. The snowballs that hit the body were to let them know that this was not a joke and that they should always exert their physical strength to the extreme. A snowball hit Yamato's, but with great accuracy, and the snowy weather in Linghao all year round made the ground very slippery. She slipped directly under the impact of the snowball. The next snowball hit her cheek and hit the snow. Stand up and keep hiding. The enemy won't stop attacking just because you lie down. They will only stab you in the stomach to make sure you are really dead. The next one won't miss. Yamato, stand up. After that, she dodged the second snowball, but her action was very indecent. It can be said that she rolled and crawled to avoid Kaido's attack, but this made Kaido smile. Very good, that's it. On the battlefield, you have to do whatever it takes. Only the absolutely strong are qualified to talk about the principles of fighting. You are not qualified now. While preaching to Yamato, he did not stop. The first to leave was Mariah. Although White and Kaido were from the same country, there was a big gap between them. Mariah's physique was far less powerful than Yamato. Then it was Jack. The blood of the fishman made him very strong and his strength was 10 times that of an ordinary human, but he was not flexible enough. Even if Kaido let him go, he was just a target and was eventually knocked down. After his companion fell, Kaido's firepower finally fell on Yamato. Ah. Father, the time is up. It's time. Kaido had just hung a watch on the tree behind him to indicate the time. After seeing the minute hand go through the last circle, Yamato shouted excitedly, "Oh, it's true." Yamato just breathed a sigh of relief when Kaido's snowball hit him again. Father, the second round has begun. This is a battlefield, Yamato. You must understand that you can't believe anything the enemy says, and I'm your enemy now. This time Kaido started throwing snowballs with both hands, and the firepower density increased to a higher level. Help. Call. No one can save you this time. Even if you shout Arceus, it's useless. This time he aimed at the legs. After Yamato fell again, he was waiting for Yamato to get up, but this time she didn't dodge, but pinched a snowball and threw it back. Although the force was very light, Kaido still didn't dodge, and the snowball hit him in the face. Father, you said it. This is a snowball fight. I'm going to fight back. Ugh, good job, Yamato. That's the way it should be. Mr. Kaido, please stop for a moment. There's trouble coming. Kaido was about to discuss the topic of war with Yamato again. After all, a snowball fight is also a war, but Shaina landed from the side to stop him. What's wrong? Kaido was a little unhappy. He was just getting into the mood. A group of pirates landed at Gigging, and Kojiro's new batch of goods and some payment were robbed. Wano country directly uses gold and silver for transactions. These things are hard currency, no matter where they are taken. If it is the currency of Sky Island, it's different. Basically no one wants Ike there. The Moonlight Pirates are the ones who did these things. The people guarding there are no opponents at all. Moria has never broken through the Judicial Island and fought the Celestial Dragons. His bounty is a certification of his strength and threat. As the only senior cadre of the Beast's pirates who stayed in Wano country, this matter was naturally reported to Shaina. She was going to check the situation, but she happened to see Kaido. Because this place is very close to the return port, she came to remind Kaido and suggested that they leave first. However, this also disturbed Kaido's interest. He was originally very happy to see his daughter grow up little by little and was planning to let Yamato experience the cruelty of the world. Shaina, you look after Yamato and the others first. You don't have to worry about what's going on over there. Mr. Kaido, what do you mean? Well, I'll go there by myself. Are there any of our people nearby? Yes, although there are no cadres, there are more than 200 elites, and some of them have received the gift of Lord Arceus. That's enough. Kaido said and walked directly towards the return port, but this was also a relief for Yamato. You will regret it. You don't know what you have done. This is the property of the Beast Pirates. Lord Kaido and Lord Arceus will not let you go. At the material transfer station in Linghao, a pirate collapsed to the ground. The tall man in front of him was too strong, and they were no match for him at all. Kaido? Arceus? Who is that? I've never heard of him. That's right, Lord Moria is the man who is going to become the Pirate King. How can a big man with 320 million be afraid of other pirates? 320 million again, you idiots from paradise. Sooner or later you will know how ignorant you are. If Moria was a famous pirate, he couldn't be ignorant of everything. This amount is also a Kaido in the beasts. But he just didn't hear the name of Moria, so the only explanation is that he is a newcomer who just entered the new world, and only these people dare to say such big words so lightly. However, Moria was not afraid of his threat, but swung his sword to his feet, and the place where his shadow and body were connected was broken. A struggling shadow was caught in Moria's hand, and he had fainted. The good news is that it is snowing now, and the clouds block the sunlight, so that he didn't turn into ash directly. That is Moria's ability, the superhuman shadow fruit, which can manipulate the powerful ability of human shadows. Now he doesn't even need scissors. He can cut off the connection of the shadow with just a knife, and then he stuffed the shadow into a small bottle and hung it in his windbreaker, which is also a part of his power. Hey, where should we go next? Captain, someone is coming. It's a man with horns on his head. Chapter 222. I'm in a bad mood now. Brother Kaido, we found the enemy. The pirates of the beasts were very excited. The promotion mechanism within the beasts pirates made them pay more attention to strength. They knew very well what their level was like. If they wanted to achieve a qualitative leap, they had to either find a powerful fruit or get the gift of Arceus. This made military exploits more important in the beasts pirates, which was the main means of their promotion. The lottery system was very popular within the beasts pirates. Previously, Kaido had drawn half of the elites in Wano country. Except for those cadres, the difference in their own strength was not very large. Ordinary members were divided into several teams, and the lottery was conducted by their leaders. Although guarding Wano country was much more comfortable than going out to grab territory, the effort and benefit were proportional. Instead of spending their retirement in Wano country, they would rather go out to exchange for military exploits. Occasionally, there would be young people on other islands, but due to the terrain of Wano country, that kind of thing was almost impossible to happen, so they were a little disappointed to stay behind. But now that the merit has been delivered to their doorstep, the pirates of the beasts pirates are much more excited than Kaido. More and more pirates appeared on the hillside, and they were all waiting for Kaido's order. Are you the one who broke in here? You're quite capable. Looking at the dozen or so members of the beasts pirates lying at Moria's feet, Kaido looked at Moria twice. Being able to come to Wano country and easily deal with his subordinates showed that there was still a big difference between him and the small fish. Hey, show some respect to Captain Moria. He is a pirate with a bounty of 320 million. He is the man who wants to become the Pirate King. Pirate King? You really dare to say anything? Kango dysfunction. Kaido swung his mace at the man with one hand. Although he was not a swordsman, he swung out a column of stick energy similar to a flying slash. The cylindrical stick of energy had a wider range. The snow on the ground was driven by Kaido's Kango dysprosium attack, and a snow dragon rushed towards the people around Moria. Be careful. Moria waved his hand and blocked his partner in front of him, and then slashed with both hands. The snowflakes were split in half in front of Moria. Kaido's attacks were all blocked by him. Although he took a few steps back, he was still blocked by him. Asshole, what are you going to do to my partner? Ugh, of course I'm going to kill him, but now I've changed my mind. Moria, right? I'll give you a chance. Bring your people to join my pirate group. Although the attack just now was not full force, Moria, who blocked his attack, was obviously the same. He has proved his strength in this way. Are you kidding me? I'm going to be the Pirate King. How can I join you? Normally I don't mind playing with you, but today I'm not in a good mood. This is your last chance. Don't you really want to join me? Originally, he and Yamato had a good time. At least in Kaido's eyes, it was just playing. He thought Yamato should be very happy. Although he was shouting and running away, it was much more interesting than before. Sure enough, Arceus was right. He should teach while playing. But just when he was about to continue teaching, Moria's affairs reached his ears. The interest that had just been ignited was disrupted. He was in a bad mood, so he didn't plan to waste too much time with Moria. Of course, I have the best partner in this sea. I will defeat you here, take your treasure, and then go to Raftel. How can I join you and stop here? In this case, you can only choose to die here, little ones. Kill them all, leaving no one alive. He rushed down the hill first, and the pirates behind him rushed up one after another. Moria was not to be outdone, and also led his crew to meet them. During the charge, the pirates on both sides silently dispersed to the sides, leaving the center of the battlefield to their captain. Moria was tall and strong, before he turned into an onion. Moria's longsword dragged on the ground, and the snow on the ground was also raised while he swung. In the battle in paradise, this inconspicuous little skill can still play a role. Even in the new world, he still retained this habit. Even if there is observation haki, many people are used to relying on their eyes, except for those who have disabled their eyes like Fugitora. Although it was slashed from bottom to top, Moria was at a disadvantage after several contacts, but the fight was still going back and forth. Yes, you are different from those small fish in the paradise. Then we will get serious next. Thunderbagua. The thick-armed color domineering, attached to the 8 fasts, and the electric current was wrapped around it. Kaido slightly adjusted the posture of holding the stick, and after exerting force with his legs, he jumped into the air and smashed the weapon in his hand with a mighty force to Moria's head. Shadow Mage. The shadow under Moria's feet suddenly came to life, no longer replicating the actions of the original body. A dark Moria appeared in front of him, crossing his arms to block Kaido's attack. Although he can control the shadow, it is only a human shadow, because in the hands of the shadow fruit ability user, the shadow is also a part of life, and the shadow of dead objects such as swords and guns is not within his control. The shadow clone does not feel pain, is not afraid of harm, and completely obeys Moria's orders. It can be said to be his best helper, but the power of the clone is still somewhat different from that of the original body. Although it slowed down Kaido's attack exceeded the upper limit of the Shadow Mage after a few seconds. The shadow split into countless black balls, and then turned into a bat-like shadow that bit Kaido's arms, trying to slow down his movements. But under Kaido's domineering defense, this was meaningless. Those shadow bats could not penetrate his domineering defense. The weapons of both sides came into contact again. Compared with the current Thunder Bagua, the previous attack was just a child's fight. Those bat shadows condensed into entities not far away, and then Moria, who was wrestling with Kaido, instantly turned into his shadow. Shadow Warrior. Moria can exchange positions with his own shadow at will with the power of the fruit. When he felt something was wrong, he made this choice. Then he opened his windbreaker and took out the bottles containing the shadows. Arsehole, now let you see the power of this uncle. Then he opened the caps of the 2 bottles with both hands, and about 20 shadows entered his body. Chapter 223 Kaido, you have to pay the price. This is the ability of his shadow fruit. He can put other people's shadows into his body, so as to obtain the power, skills, and moves of the shadow owner. These shadows are the spoils of his voyage along the way. He will not kill all the people he defeated, but will take away their shadows. People who have lost their shadows will not be affected by anything else, but they can never be exposed to the sun. Once they are bathed in the sun, they will be reduced to ashes. But as long as they are alive, the shadow will always exist. Now Moria is not thinking about creating a large number of zombies. These shadows are his means of strengthening himself. Originally, Moria's body shape can only be described as strong, but as those shadows were sucked into his body, his muscles began to swell, and his body shape alone was not much inferior to Kaido. Speed, strength, reaction, everything about Moria has been improved by more than one level, and in the next fight, Kaido found that Moria's fighting skills have also changed. In the battle, he frequently changed the fighting mode, and the variety of moves also aroused Kaido's interest. Interesting, the power of the shadow? Yes, the shadow and the person are one. As the shadow disappears, the master's lifelong efforts will fall into my hands. Kaido, your shadow will also become part of my power. He naturally recognized Kaido's identity. As one of the most powerful pirates in the sea today, Moria who entered the new world could not have no information at all. But from paradise to here, the Moonlight Pirates have been smooth sailing, and he has not experienced a big failure, so he is very confident. He thinks that he just went to sea a little late. If he went to sea early enough, the bounty would be much higher than it is now. Want my shadow? You are not qualified enough, Thunderbagua. Shadow warrior. The body and shadow switched again, and Moria also changed the knife in his hand into a stabbing posture, stabbing Kaido's abdomen from the side. However, although he switched the position of the body and shadow quickly, Kaido's reaction was faster. The mace crossed a larger arc and hit Moria's chest. As for his shadow's attack, it was directly blocked by Kaido's domineering. Moria and Kaido's battle can be said to be back and forth for the time being, but the battle of the others is completely different. In the fight on the snow, the Moonlight Pirates gradually fell into a disadvantage. In addition to the gap in combat power, the skills used by the leaders brought them a lot of trouble. At this time, there was a big snowball rolling on the snow. But it was not a snowball, but a pirate who used rolling. A breakthrough was opened in the front of the Moonlight Pirates led by him. Rookie of Paradise, see the power of the new world. This is the reward of Lord Arceus. You should experience what power is. A flame spewed out from the mouth of another pirate. The enemy in front of him had fought with him for a while, and he didn't expect that he could spit fire. The fierce flames swept out, and the snow behind Ling gradually melted under the baking of the flames. At the same time, there was a smell of burning. This was not an isolated case. Next to him, a pirate was holding a yellow electric ball that was sizzling. As he threw the electric ball into the crowd, a blank area was cleared in the snow again. The last person's attack range was not that large, but her arms were wrapped in a green energy, and two blade-like things appeared at her elbows, making her like a killing machine. The four abilities completely broke the opponent's line. This is the current giver of the Beast's Pirates, who has obtained one or more skills from Arceus. People like Babanuki and Manfesh who have obtained complete abilities are called God Blessed, and God Blessed are their targets, because within the Beast's Pirates, God Blessed and Cardas are almost equal. The screams of the crew caught Moria's attention, and also made him notice the casualties of his companions. He also lost some companions during the voyage, but this was the first time that there were such a large number of casualties. Damn it. Kaido, what did you do to my companions? Huh. They were too weak, so they were killed by my subordinates. Moria, I'll make an exception, and give you one last chance to join me. This was the third time he said this. He was in a bad mood, because he was disturbed by Moria, but he also admired Moria's strength, so he repeatedly invited him. But if he refused again this time, Kaido would not be interested. Although he has always been interested in powerful subordinates, he didn't have to have Moria, especially when he was not in a good mood. What a joke. You killed my companions and still want me to join you? Kaido, I'm going to kill you to avenge them. Shadow box. Moria's own shadow turned into a huge cube that enveloped Kaido, but Moria did not take the opportunity to attack, but rushed in other directions. Hold on. I'm here to save you. He trapped Kaido with a shadow box in order to take the opportunity to rescue his companions, but before he got there, his shadow box was broken. King Kong Lion D. The mace smashed the shadows that were wrapped around him, and then the mace energy was swung towards Moria. If his focus was still on Kaido, he would have been able to dodge this attack. But the death and injury of his companions had already made him confused, so Kaido's attack hit him in the back. This is boring. Just because a few subordinates died, you forget how to fight? Subordinates? They are my most important companions. People like you don't understand. Moria was knocked to the ground and was extremely angry, and then there were more bottles in his hands. One by one, the bottles were crushed in his hands. Every time he crushed a bottle, some shadows would run out. When they were free, they fled in all directions. They wanted to return to their masters. But Moria didn't let those shadows out for fun. Shadow gathering place. The shadow fruit was fully activated, and the shadows that just wanted to escape were sucked into Moria's body. 3,050,100,500. This was all the shadows he carried with him, and it was also the most suitable number for fighting. This number of shadows could not only greatly enhance his strength, but also keep him sane. Shadow King. At this time, Moria had turned into a giant 20 meters tall. No one knew where he had thrown his original weapons. He swung his huge fist at Kaido with anger. Kaido, you will pay the price. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 224. It's a pity that you don't have the aura of the protagonist. Moriya's eyes were red. It was a big burden to put someone else's shadow into his body. It was a great burden on the user's mental strength. Living people have their own shadows. Absorbing a large number of shadows into the body will cause them to fight for each other, and usually a rejection reaction will occur within a few minutes. The more shadows there are, the greater the rejection reaction. If you want to maintain a high intensity battle, this number of shadows is the most suitable number for Moriya, so he will carry this number of shadows with him. The height of an adult giant is generally 12 meters. Moriya's current size is relatively rare among giants. The small horns on the top of his head have also turned into a pair of even larger horns, which are somewhat similar to Kaido. The huge fist made a deep pit on the ground, and the nearby Linghao residents all noticed the huge vibration. Then Moriya punched Kaido's position several times in a row, and the snow layer of Linghao was shaken open, and the land that had been frozen for many years below was also exposed, and a large number of cracks spread around. This was originally a small hill, but because of Moriya's attack, it has now become a small basin. Kaido, who was standing there, had disappeared in the center of the basin. Moriya thought that he couldn't continue to fight after suffering so many attacks, so he turned around and was about to leave. His companions were still waiting for them. Shadow? He was about to join the battle on the other side, but a dangerous breath came from behind him. Moriya showed a reaction that was very different from his body size, and moved his body to one side directly, and a burning beam of light just passed by him. Nice power, but unfortunately your haki is too weak. You can't hurt me at that level. Haki is the power of a person. During the long voyage, Moriya gradually mastered some of the uses of two-color haki in battle, which is also the way most people master haki. Only a few people can get system guidance. Most people hone their skills in battle. Compared with Kaido's haki, which has been honed for many years, Moriya's haki seems insignificant. Unfortunately, although you have good abilities, you refused my recruitment. It's better for you to die here. Hot breath. A flame spurted out of the dragon's mouth again. Although Moriya dodged it, he realized something was wrong the next moment. When he looked back, the members of the Moonlight Pirates were already in the sea of fire. Just now, due to the huge shock he created, the two sides paused the battle, which also gave Kaido the opportunity to attack on a large scale. Arsehole, Kaido, you arsehole, what have you done? Seeing the miserable state of his companions, Moriya almost collapsed, and then he attacked Kaido like a madman, but compared with before, his attack was no longer methodical, just randomly swinging his fists. Since you are out to sea, you have to be prepared, and this is my territory. You broke in here, and robbed my men. Don't act like a victim. From the moment you started, you have declared war. The domineering aura wrapped around Kaido's head, and the dragon horn pushed towards Moriya's body. Moriya had a better way to deal with it, but the miserable state of his companions made him lose his mind, and he actually chose to fight Kaido in this state. The result is self-evident. 2 blood holes appeared on his body, and he was also knocked to the place where the flames were originally burning. Since you have declared war on me, you have to be prepared for this. Moriya's huge body suppressed the flames, and the bodies of a large number of dead companions also came into view. At this moment, he didn't listen to Kaido's words at all. Captain Moriya, I can't do it anymore. You must live on. I believe you can become the Pirate King. I'm sorry, Captain. It seems that our voyage ends here. Kaido. His companion's last words made him completely crazy. He got up and rushed towards Kaido desperately, but Kaido completely lost interest in him. He originally thought that this was a good fighter, but now it seems that he is just a crazy beast. Stupid, what can you do with this? Moriya just now was worth his seriousness, but now Kaido turned back to human form, dodged Moriya's attack, and posed a classic pose. Elbaf's spear, we go hit Moriya's abdomen. but Moria's strength under the blessing of 500 shadows was much stronger than that of ordinary Seekings. Wigo did not penetrate his body, but left a huge wound on his body from bottom to top. Blood spurted out, and the shadows in his body ran out uncontrollably. Moria's body was shrinking at a speed visible to the naked eye. "Captain, you have to live. Moria, stand up, you can't die here. Captain Moria, aren't you going to be the Pirate King?" In Moria's confused consciousness, the voices of his companions rang out one after another, but they left one after another, and the scene of his companion's death appeared in his mind again. "I can't die here." His own shadow also mixed with those fleeing shadows, and then when Kaido was about to finish off the knife, Moria disappeared. "Brother Kaido, are you going to chase him? The dog who lost his home, let him go. Clean up this place, I still have things to do." He had just finished Yamato's first round of the game. According to his estimation, Yamato could last at least 3 rounds. Now he was already thinking about what other games were fun. Of course, they were all more deadly games. Compared to Moria, he was more concerned about Yamato's growth. The movement in the Linghao area naturally attracted the attention of others. The entire Linghao saw Kaido flying in the sky, and shortly after the battle, a man with a yellow hair appeared here with a fox and a team of samurai. The name of Linghao, Shimotsuki Ashimaru, looked at the destroyed ground of Linghao, and his face, which was similar to Zoro, showed a very complicated expression. 3 updates today. The circuit is broken, and the electrician has not fixed it for an hour. The phone is too slow to type, and there is another book to write. I will make up for it someday. Chapter 225. What is it like to play tennis with Thunderbagua? Master Ashimaru. Well, what a terrible destructive power. After all, he was the daimyo of Linghao Township. After hearing that other pirates had entered here, he brought people here, but the place where he lived was a little far from Linghao's return port. When he rushed over, most of the day had passed, and he only saw the pirates who were finishing here. The pirates of the beasts did not take those people dressed as samurai seriously. Except for those in power, some of the people below even had a good relationship. A few pirates even started families in Wano country. Although Wano country is xenophobic, the beasts have stayed here for a long time. Moreover, the economic conditions of those pirates are much better than those ordinary people in Wano country. Even Kinemon could find a wife when he was a gangster. Pirates bound by a series of rules are much better than those gangsters. It was just a face-to-face encounter. The two sides were still doing their own things, and the result of the Linghao battle was naturally sent to Kurozumi Orochi. The people of Orochi Oniwa Banshu laid out the projection snails on the scene, and then showed him the scene there in Orochi Castle. Monster Kaido is really a monster. Whether it is Kazuki Oden or Kaido, they are things he cannot handle. Although the plan he gave to Kazuki Oden seems to be very ridiculous, he is serious. He needs Kaido and Kazuki Oden to lose both, and it is best to die together. He has to stabilize Oden and Kaido at the same time. He feels a headache just thinking about it. Of course, if he knew that his plan was discovered from the beginning, he might not even have a head now. However, the battle between Kaido and Moria made Kazuki Oden slightly believe in Kurozumi Orochi. If the destructive power displayed by Kaido is fought in the Flower Capital, I'm afraid that the entire Flower Capital will be destroyed. In this way, Orochi's behavior is not without consideration. Afterwards, the worst incident in Wano country in hundreds of years occurred in the Northern Cemetery. Ryoma's tomb was stolen, and the Black Sword Shusu disappeared. As a result, the tombs of some nearby samurai were dug out. To be precise, those corpses were more like crawling out of the cemetery by themselves. However, only the bodies were missing, and all the burial objects were left behind. My companion, Pirate King Moria, who was in a daze, followed some zombies, and left the Sea of Wano country. At the same time, on Onigashima, most of the cadres went out to participate in the battle, and many of the elites who stayed were taken away. Onigashima became completely empty. It was designed to accommodate huge creatures such as giants, and it could also accommodate tens of thousands of people to gather in the base camp of the Beast Pirates. But now there are only a few hundred people here. Lotto. Identity confirmed. Pass allowed. Lotto. Onigashima stairs leading to the upper level. An electronic door opened in response. Up here is the Carter activity area, and only Carters and some authorized people can go up. Rotom, who was boarding in the electronic door, confirmed Av's identity before opening the door to the upper level. As a civilian Carter, the battle outside had nothing to do with him. So when the war was going on everywhere in the sea of the new world, he was playing tennis in Onigashima with peace of mind. Although his body has not aged too much due to the influence of pure gold, he is still a middle-aged fat man. He has tried to lose weight, but the effect is limited. At present, he has only achieved it without further development. He is not good at fighting, but proper fitness is still needed. The person who plays tennis with him is Nakin. Although they both have research and cultivation work, it does not affect normal rest and entertainment. It's just that something is wrong with the tennis court today. Why is Mr. Kaido here? I don't know. He was already here when I came. Nakin and Asi looked at each other. It was unscientific for Kaido to appear in such a place. However, when Yamato, who had changed his clothes, appeared here, they seemed to understand something. Is Mr. Kaido going to play tennis with his daughter? That's great. When Olga comes back, should I play more with her? Asi moved his wrist. The tennis court here is large enough for many people to play tennis together, so he plans to go to a farther place. I don't think things are that simple. Nakin's main job is not a fighter, but she can also fight, so her intuition in this regard is much stronger than Asi. She always feels that things are not that simple. And the next moment, her intuition came true. Yamato, are you ready? Ready. Very good. As long as you can hit my ball back once, your training today can be over. Really? Of course it's true, but you have to catch it well. Kaido picked up his racket. The racket was quite small for him, but it didn't matter. He threw an ordinary tennis ball into the air. Until this moment, everything seemed normal, but the next moment, Kaido's action shocked Axie and Nakin. Thunderbagwa. Thunderbagwa is Kaido's fighting technique. It doesn't necessarily have to rely on the mace. Other weapons can also exert force, including rackets. In order to prevent ordinary rackets from breaking under his strength, he also attached armed color domineering to it. Axie and Nakin didn't see where the tennis ball went, but they saw the crater on the wall behind Yamato. Although it was a tennis ball, Axie only thought of this adjective. Gulp. Asi swallowed his saliva. He just wanted to discuss the issue of taking care of his daughter with Kaido, but now it seems a bit redundant. I don't think it's a good day to play tennis. What do you think? I think so too. There is a kind of herb in my laboratory that is about to mature. I have to go back and take a look. How about we talk about it next time? Well, it just so happens that my smelted metal should be finalized. See you next time. With that, the two of them slipped out directly from here. There is probably no one else, except Kaido, who can use tennis balls as cannonballs. Father, it's tennis balls. I specially prepared 200 balls. I have locked the door. After hitting these 200 balls, or you hit the ball back, otherwise it won't end. Help. The previous snowballs were thrown by Kaido with his bare hands, and this time the tennis balls were borrowed with a racket. The difficulty level has increased by more than one level. What's more terrible is that Kaido is still playing tricks. The tennis balls he hits will bounce. Even if you dodge the first round, there may be a second round. The flying tennis ball may bounce back from behind. Now no one knows whether the student is happy or not, but judging from the expression of the teacher, he is indeed very happy. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.